What's going on? It's your man, DJ Big Mike.
It's your boy, Aro.
It's your boy, TJ, the mayor.
And this is Beyond the Tracks podcast.
Your podcaster's favorite podcast. Gentlemen. Yeah, man.
That's what it is.
We got our first lady in the house today. I'm so excited, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
I'm so excited. I just have to get right into what we have in store for y'all today. We have a beautiful woman here on this pod, our first woman on a podcast. I am honored. I think we're all honored to call her family and friend. I think we are all honored just to be in her circle of just good vibes that she brings to this earth. So you guys, if you're watching and you know who she is, I'm gonna give y'all a little hint right now. You know what I mean? A little resume type shit, right? She is huge in the fashion world. She is international at this point because I know some of her blokes. I know some of her peoples that they be taking the piss. That's London talk. Absolutely. That's London talk. She be everywhere. Anyway, without further ado, let's just get into it. My big cuz, our friend, family member we have in the house from Montague Creatives, Krissy Montague is in the building. We do it with our mouth, Krissy. We do the with our mouth. Yeah, we don't have a sounder for that. Krissy, what's happening? Welcome to the pod.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes.
Thank y'all for having me. Didn't know I was the first female.
Yes.
Okay, now.
Yeah, we had to do it right.
History in here. Right.
We
Y'all
had to do
did
it
it
right.
right. Y'all did it right. I agree with you.
This is history. We've been doing this for a little over a year now.
I know.
And you're our first female. It's only right that we bring on a female that is just so, we could have had a bunch of different people on here, right?
Right.
Just to call them female, but we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that it is the real deal that's going to talk that shit, not just say what people think they should say on the pod.
Yeah. Do you feel Krissy's outspoken though?
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
Maybe just a
little bit.
Just a smidgen.
Yeah, a little bit.
But that's why we love it. That's why we love it.
I get it honest.
So Krissy from Montague Creatives, I don't even know where I want to start, but how about this, Krissy? Give us a little background of what you do and kind of where how that came about.
All right. Well, I mean,
Where to
story.
start?
Where to start?
I was born.
Right. So, picture it, Sicily, 1980.
Right.
Riverside Elementary. Jackie and Ab, no.
Hey-o!
Montague. No. So a little bit about me. Born and raised in Monroe. Just really been, I think, an individual my entire life for whatever reason. I love people. I talked a lot as a kid, and I loved being around all types of people, which is probably why my path took me into retail. So started working in retail, just really loved to be around people, just worked my way up, started doing visuals, things like that. It's been almost 20 years that I've been in the retail industry, and then I ended up finding this brand that I love, that I've spent the last 17 years with. And throughout that, I made a lot of connects. And you know how it is, sometimes when you're in a position, you realize that some people are only your friends or only around you because of what you can do for them. Mm. So once I got to a certain level and I was meeting these people, I waited when I moved back to Michigan to see who still was going, kind of be down and like reach out, and that wasn't there for the discount or the hookup or the connect.
Who was really in your corner.
Yeah, who was like really in my corner. So, within the last probably 4 or 5 years, I realized that, why not monetize those connections? I've always been one of those people that I like to surround myself with like-minded people that's, trying to do stuff. So I've always been in positions where it's like, I talk to people and I'm like, oh, wait, you do what? I know so-and-so that could probably, help you out. And I've been doing that for a while. And over COVID, I think everybody was in a place where they were like, oh, people are losing their jobs and, what happens? What happens next? And like, that was my moment where I was like, this is my time to really focus on Krissy, and try to do some things for the community. So I decided to take the leap and start my own agency so that I could first and foremost help people grow their businesses, just using all of, not necessarily even starting with the connects, just my expertise and the things that I've learned in the 17 years with the brand that I work with to help people grow their businesses, especially small businesses, because I think that's the one thing that we saw over COVID, and it started with masks, right? People became millionaires. Who would have thought, that they was gonna be making all this money, making masks and stuff like that. So
I got some custom joints.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we all do.
So,
I think we all do.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody has somebody that they got a mask from that, and that might have been the only thing that they did for their personal shit, but you got it. So, with that, I've just been slowly just connecting people, and I haven't really had to launch my business, and I'm blessed, and that's what I've realized. When people are like, oh my goodness, like, when are you launching? When are you doing this? And when are you doing that? And, I'm a firm believer that if you are a good person, people will support you. So I didn't need to really launch, it's like I could just tell one person, and then it was like word of mouth. They always say that negative spreads a lot faster than positive, but if you're the person that you're supposed to be out here, it's the opposite. So, I have a lot of the connects that I had were reaching out to me once they found out that I opened my agency. So one of my first gigs with my agency was doing a job for United Masters. Steve Stout, shout out to my girl Manny. She is his right-hand man. And
heavy hitters, she's mentioning, by the way. Heavy hitters. If you guys don't know who these people are, Google them.
Google them. So I got a call that one of the artists on United Masters, his name is Toby Ngewe, who, if you are not familiar, you should get familiar, based out of Texas. And
nice MC.
Nice MC. And he's done it all on his own. That's what United Masters really is about anyway. But Toby has his entire family on tour. Everybody has a job. So he had added a new date in Grand Rapids. And so my friend Manny, who is close with Steve Stout and runs his sneaker shop out of San Francisco called Stash, she reached out to me because they added the date. She knew I was from Michigan and she needed help with the tour merch. And for those that don't know, merchandising is my background in any way, shape, or form, but clothing is my niche. So she reached out and was like, can you do it? This and that. And the rest is history. And again, had I not built those relationships that I built in the past, would she have reached out to me? Probably not. Had she not saw my work ethic, and I like to think that no matter how you get in a room, you're in that room. So it's what you do with it when you're in there. Right. I don't know if you're familiar with Yara Shahidi from Blackish. She just graduated from Harvard. Shout out to her. One of the things that she said in an interview a while back was she used to sit in these rooms, and she's very young, and people would kind of look at her like, why is she even in here? Even though, she's executive producing, she is, people are seeking her out. So one of the things that she said that she did is she was like, they weren't giving me my, credit or my space when I was in that room, not recognizing that I'm in this room for a reason. So she said she would start coming into these offices and these meetings, and she would wear wild, crazy clothes that were bright, have a lot of prints and shit like this. So it was topic of conversation, and she would take that moment when they would start talking maybe about her clothing to use that to be like, okay, now let's talk business.
Right.
You know, so and she just really drove that home to me, you know, because a lot of people will be like, oh, you know, how you get to where you get is who you know. And I am a firm believer in that, but there's a difference between riding somebody's coattail and having a connect that puts you in a room and you doing the work. Right. You know,
I always, not to cut you off, but I always say this. I've said this a bunch of times in this podcast, and it's a 50 Cent quote. I don't know who said it before him, but on the first Get Rich or Die Trying DVD, he said, who you know is what puts you on. What you know determines how long you'll be there.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. I mean, the director of my organization right now that I met, you know, when I first started with the brand that I'm with, that's the one thing, you know, after I started growing and still connected with her, people would be like, oh, you know, Chris is only where she is because of this particular person. But at the end of the day, she helped me get to where I am. But had I not been doing the job, you know, she couldn't keep the job for me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
she gave me the opportunity. So that's
the
what I
what
tell
you
people.
know
Exactly.
determines how long you'll.
And that's why when people reach out, you know, I'm very, very select about the people that I do connect or put on, because you're a representation of me, you know, family or not, you know, if I'm signing off on you, you got to do the work.
Right.
You
Yeah.
got to do the work if you represent me. So, you know, I mean, and, you know, so just trying to do more in the community. And, you know, I know you said I'm the first woman on this podcast. This is my first podcast. And so.
And you can
For
tell
real?
you the first woman. You can tell you the first woman because we never this quiet. we never this intense.
Respect.
Listen, yeah, and you know me, I'm gonna be silly. I don't give a damn.
I know, and you're not.
But I will tell you, it's one thing that I love about you as well as TJ, and TJ been telling me this for years, is one, I love that you put other people on and you're happy with that. Like, that's what you want to do. Second thing is investing in people. TJ would tell me that all the time. Like, don't go into a room and start talking about what you can do and what you find out what those people can do. Find out what they want to do. Find out how you can relate to the people first and invest in that, and things will come. And since I started doing that, it's like crazy things have just been happening for me over the years. So
and that's what it's about, you know. And me being a black female, you know, yes, it's at times a double whammy, but it's also why I've continued to, at my age and how long I've been, you know, doing what I do, why I have sacrificed and said that I need to still be in stores or be in places where I can be with people, because I need people to see that, you know, I was in your place. And, you know,
That's very important. That's so important in a room.
Yeah.
it's
For somebody to be able to like look at you and see you and say, hey, like to be able to relate that, hey, I'm not the first person that's at this level trying to get to this level.
absolutely.
I think that's really, really important for people's confidence and to bring out the best them.
Yeah. And you got to be at their level too, you know. I try to do that. I'm not a title person. I never chase titles in my jobs or anything like that. And when I speak to people, you know, whether it's a part-timer or the president of the company, you know, it's the same conversation. You know, we're having the same conversation, but it's just really important for, you know, especially young girls, the young minority girls, to see that, you know, you can leave and come back and still be something. You know, that's been my biggest thing when it comes to Monroe. You know, everybody's always like, you gotta get out, right. this and that. And then when they get out, it's like, don't ever come back. I did it. I moved to Atlanta in 2004 and I came back in 2009, and I didn't get sucked in, you know, because we're all blessed with choices. At the end of the day, we're all blessed with choices, you know. You can't continue, you know, you can't be a victim of your circumstances when you're blessed with choices. There's somebody out there that would love to have your issues. You know what I mean?
Right.
That somebody else is way worse off. So like, I just really try to have that mindset, and, you know, I try to always just bring light, you know, to rooms or situations that I'm in. And again, like you said, Mike, like the people piece is what it's all about. what it's all about. What legacy are you gonna leave? You know,
leave your legacy.
Your skill
man.
set is great,
Right.
but if you haven't taught anybody else that skill set,
Right.
you know,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you really doing?
Me and Josh from Brain Jerk were just talking about this because when we were at the fight that Derek put on at the center, not the one that he fought in, but the one that he threw, they passed out wristbands. I've been talking to you forever about leave your legacy. It's a Ray Lewis thing that I love that he says in this speech. Anyway, on one side of it is leave your legacy, and I've been talking about that forever. Like once you get to that point where you like. Nobody ever figures out life, but once you get to that point where you're comfortable with where you're at with figuring out life, like that's I think when you start realizing like, oh, that's a really big part of life is how you leave the life.
That's it.
That's it.
I mean, I'm talking foreigner if I'm getting too deep, but because we're gonna get really deep today. By the way, everybody, we're gonna get really deep.
That's it.
Before we get too deep. Shout out to Shit Gets Deep.
Was I not allowed to say that?
You said she rock with us.
Yeah. No. We're gonna have a lot of pausing on this too. Listen, Krissy, on this podcast, ain't no shame in our game. We nerd out and we call each other out on shit.
Okay, cool.
And we pause.
Because you know I do.
And we pause.
Before we go any further, I do want to make sure we get our shout outs, our sponsorship. We really appreciate everybody that we're about to shout out, and a lot of more people on the way. A lot of cool things coming on that we're going to be announcing within the next couple of weeks going on for the summer. So without further ado, shout out to 8 Mile Vodka, Mikey Shoemaker, George Berkeless, the Tomey brothers, everybody over there at 8 Mile Vodka and Born in Detroit. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. Also, Born in Detroit has a lot of cool things that are about to be announced in the next, probably the next couple of pods. I got to save it, but they're always working. We appreciate you guys always working to make the brand that you have, because we actually believe in the brand. We love the brand. We love the vodka, but we also love the brand itself and what they're doing for communities, sponsorship everywhere, not just us. So also our new sponsorship that we brought out last week is We Handle Candles. My boy Stelios and his company. Stelios is from Spooky Films. He also has a candle company that's really, really dope, man. They have these very, very clean Soe candles. This is the Fruit Loops. This is a little citronella to get my little backyard oogie on to keep the mosquitoes away. So you guys can hit them up. You can actually follow them on Instagram at all one word We Handle Candles. And you also hit up Spooky Films. He's the man behind this, and he's also going to be doing some intro work for us pretty soon that I'm really, really excited about next week. Yeah. And you guys have seen him on a podcast. He's also the director of the Dead Record film. I don't know the movie stuff. I don't know if it's director, how that goes, but he filmed the Dead Record. They also got another horror film coming out pretty soon that's going to be here in August, I believe, at the River Raisin Center.
Yes, I think August 20-something.
It's something like that, and we'll get more when that comes closer. You guys will see him on here. So thank you, 8 Mile, and thank you, We Handle Candles. Mike, what you got for sponsorship?
You know, I always got my man JC from JC Quality Construction. Does everything for what? The 2x4 to the key to the front door. Mention Beyond the Tracks podcast, and you will get 15% off all materials. Hit them up at 734-652-9715. Once again, hit him up, JC Quality Construction. Everything from what?
The 2x4 to the key to the front door.
Let's go.
He does the indoor and the outdoor.
And
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if I can put his business out there. He might.
We'll move on to the next sponsorship, Mike. Let's not get sponsorship taken away. He's our longest running. He's actually our first sponsor.
He is. Yes, he sponsored us before we even did a podcast, I think.
Yes.
And then we got my man Lloyd Cheatham from Cheat Designs.
Let's
He does the
go.
custom one-offs. Once again, if you want to get your summer oogie on and you want to look funky, fresh, flyer than anybody else, because ain't nobody else gonna have the shit that you got. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking to Lloyd today. He was in the city.
Right.
He had me
Makes
hyped
sense now,
today.
don't it?
It makes sense. I said, y'all writing this stuff out?
Right.
Yeah, so you got to hit up Cheat Designs, man, at 734-681-0331, or you can hit him up at www.cheat-designs.com. And if you check out my man RO, he has one of them custom one-offs.
Yeah. Hold on.
That's
No,
like
get
one
it a
of
little
the
bit.
that's
Get a
one of
little
the
higher
originals.
because ain't this the? Hold on, let me turn my. It's the pose too.
Yes.
It's your boy RO. Krissy, this is.
Oh, I was gonna say that
no.
ain't you, because
I'm the
that's
problem
too
papa.
dark skin for you.
No. That's his. That's his tag right there. When he used to.
Oh yes.
The first like 6 or 7 months of the pod, it was it's your boy Yaro.
For
Yeah,
sure,
I said
for
it.
sure.
I met it.
Side.
And I will say there's some plans for August. He's going to be releasing some artwork, which is once again, I talk about it a lot. It's amazing. But he's actually going to do an art show to show off his not only his clothes but his artwork. So we'll keep you updated on that, and it's going to be dope. It's going to be fire.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, man. Lloyd's got a lot of cool stuff going on. Everybody's got a lot of cool stuff going on. I love the vibe that we're in. We talk about this every podcast, and it seems to be the shout out podcast all the time. But
We got a lot of stuff to shout out.
Whoa, I don't like. I really don't give a fuck. Like that's how we feel because we really do fuck with these people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know
Like,
what's crazy?
A lot of
I'ma
shit
give
ain't
some
even
game.
sponsorship. We just love them.
Everybody who's been on this podcast or has sponsored this podcast, we actually have done business with. We actually make money.
Yeah.
It's a group of us who actually, everybody.
Yeah, oh shit! Well, why are we talking about it?
Everybody who's ever been a guest, everybody who's ever sponsored, we actually do business with.
Perfect little shout out to the co-op.
To the co-op.
Shout out to the co-op. We got our chains on. You know what I mean?
Chains.
If you don't know, you'll know. The co-op. So let's jump right back into it. I always talk about Krissy. I always say that I'm it's inspired to be the Clarence Avant, right? Like I'm not the Quincy Jones. I can't make music sound incredible, right? I can't make fashion look incredible, but I can put some people in the right room.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I inspire to be that, and I believe that you are that.
Yes. Golfers clap.
Hey,
definitely go.
before we get too far into it, Krissy, you may know, and I may be wrong. Are you involved in the Juneteenth celebration that's going to be going on?
Down in Elmira?
Well, no.
Oh.
This is at Montague Park,
It's
correct?
at my family's park.
Exactly. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
excited. I know we're going to get to
'Cause we're doing
Juneteenth. I am not directly involved with the event. I will be supporting, but I will say in the last 3 or 4 years, it's weird shouting out, your own family or whatever, but that was always the intention by my entire family, right? By buying that park and, allowing people to go down there and do things that are positive. We started off a long time ago. It's just family stuff, right? Like we having barbecues, graduation parties and stuff like that. And then, now that I feel like in the last few years, people really want to support local. They really want to support local. So the fact that people are willing to bypass a St. Mary's or, a St. Mary's Park or different stuff like that to come down to a community park, black, white, whatever. So I encourage everybody to come down there, because it's Juneteenth. But anything else that we do at Montague Park, you gonna know is gonna be for real. But yes, I will be there. I'm not directly involved in it, but Miss Evans, Cherie, shout out, you know what I mean? Because it just takes one person to be like, okay, we need to do something. And, because they're doing something else, I think the day before, right, at the community center.
Yep.
Yeah.
That has huge sponsors like Detroit Edison and stuff like that. But that didn't discourage her to be like, we still gonna do something on Sunday that is all local sponsors, and and that's what I'm big on, is supporting local, right? We can all have the same skill set, we can all eat, and that's what's important. Right. So
collab,
it's
not compete.
It's not a competition.
What we always talk about, collab, not compete.
Yes, it's got to be. So yeah, shout out to her and shout out to everybody.
Yeah, collab, not compete. We've been saying that.
Let me get great style.
Collab, not compete. We can all eat. It's going on a T-shirt. Let's go. Let's go.
And
bars.
But can the back of it be a picture of Mike?
Yeah,
with a rib bone?
please.
Yes.
We can all eat? Boom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Come on.
Yeah,
Let's
I think
go.
so.
Marketing, huh?
Hey, I'm just saying.
Bars.
No, that's bars for real. That's bars for real.
Bars for real. But I appreciate that. I'm just me. And for the longest time, a lot of people don't know this. I'm a very insecure person, and I'm not as much of an extrovert that people think that I am, because for the longest time, you know, growing up, I was always different. I always pushed the envelope with the way that I dressed. I always, you know.
Yeah, we thought you was crazy.
Everybody did, right? You know, I did wait until I was 21 until I got my tattoos, because let's not forget, like, my mama and daddy, okay?
Jackie would have whooped that ass.
So I waited until I was 21 and I paid for it on my own, you know, at the end of the day.
When they can't say nothing?
When they can't say nothing, I mean,
Oh, they
she
still said so. Yeah,
right?
we know that. Yeah.
I can see Jackie now. That's cute.
Yeah, like, oh my goodness. I got my tongue pierced. Went to Panama City spring break my senior year for softball. I came back. I was so excited, and this when they had the, you know, for Madison League at the center.
Yeah.
So I went to, when we got back, it was the Sunday before school got back in. So I was like, oh, I'm going down there, you know, because that was all the girls. We would go down there so we could see all the fellas playing or whatever. And, you know, I had my little tongue ring, and I hadn't been home yet. And I got home, and my mom was like, you know you're not going to school tomorrow until you get that out, right? And I was so mad because I just wanted to show people, you know, because this is back in 98 before people actually was doing that shit. So, but yeah, shout out to Jackie.
Shout out to Aunt Jackie. And I'm glad that Aunt Jackie's doing better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And everything.
Strongest woman.
I gotta say, this is one thing that I noticed about you also. I know she looked at me like, what's he gonna say? No, for real. No. Is that the people that you surround yourself by, and the people that your coworkers, and I don't even like calling them coworkers because I don't look at them as your friends. Exactly. Yep. And meeting a lot of the people that you work with along the way, like, I think that has a really big thing to do with how you excel too. You know what I mean? Not just you, but them also. You know what I mean? You guys, one thing I noticed is you guys are all yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, you guys are all individuals. You're yourself.
Unapologetically.
When I first met Ashley, when I walked in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Doubletree,
yes.
Krissy said, hit it. And Ashley just starts in the lobby as loud as she can sing. I don't even know what she was singing.
She was singing "I Will Never Lie" by Immature, because that's her favorite song.
And me and
sing.
Sam was just like, oh, okay, we're here. That's how I get introduced. Like, nobody gave an introduction. They were just like, this is Ashley. Ashley hit it. And then she just, you know what I mean? And she's not a singer or nothing, you know. Right. She's a very awesome person. Shout out to Ashley and her husband and their baby, who's been to more games than I've been to. And then you got Simone. Tighten the piss.
Simone, exactly.
In London, man.
Yes, Simone, Karma, Ray, who is a director at Foot Locker Women's, who's doing the damn thing.
It's
but
a crew.
Remember, she real as hell, okay?
And I'm gonna talk about myself too. I'm gonna talk about myself because I do that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I got thrown in. So at the time I didn't own anything except for Jordans. Okay. There's an Adidas party at the Doubletree.
Oh, I think you told me about this.
I get invited. I'm not thinking. Obviously.
You could have came in some flip-flops, some dress shoes. So I care.
And I walk in, and we kicking it, and all this other stuff. And in the back is the party, and her boss. Shout out to your boss. I love her so much. She was like, yeah, go get him some shoes out of the conference room. Yeah. And I was like,
right now.
Huh? And she was like, yeah, no, like I'm being cool about it, but I'm just letting you know, you can't walk in that room.
Period.
With them Jordans on. And she ended up giving me a pair of Alpha Bounces. And now I've bought Alpha Bounces like every couple of years because they were so comfortable, and I'm turned on to the Adidas. But yeah, they checked the shit out of me. I was like, yeah, I was wrong.
Exactly.
My girl didn't have no Adidas shoes neither, but at least she wore some flip-flops.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like flip-flops over Jordans all day.
No, and my people always gonna show love. Like,
they showed so much love. They literally went to a conference room, grabbed a pair of sneakers, and gave them to me. They were mine. I was like,
and that's the thing. That's who you should surround yourself. You should never be in a circle where, ooh, you know what? I can't bring this person around.
Right.
My crew or this particular, you know what I mean? It shouldn't be like that. So
they're all comfortable being their individual self. That's what I loved about going to that party and kicking it with you. Is everybody I met that day was like them. There was no like pitch where it was like, oh hey, how you doing? I'm Joe Blow. I'm the director of this. I didn't know anybody's titles. I just knew there were some dope ass people doing some real cool shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They had a basketball tournament going on. This is all outside of or inside the hotel. A basketball tournament right next to a beer pong tournament.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they get it in.
Right.
Yeah, I said
like,
it.
come on, you want to play? Like, let's go. Yeah, that's who I surround myself with, and it's so funny because everybody always, says that, and I knew I was always gonna be that way because of who my parents were. Growing up in Monroe was not exactly easy. Playing sports, being the only black girl, and
and being too damn good. Don't sell yourself short.
Right.
I was all right.
Yeah, okay.
But I had different, I had to have different circles, like I'm playing sports and going, playing games and practicing with one crew. But then when I'm in school, I'm in D-Wing, kicking it with my family, you know what I mean? And I just have always been that type of person, and it's made me who I am today, because I don't think that I would be where I am today if I wasn't so open-minded and exposed to so many different people. I'm unapologetically me, and I surround myself with people that don't mince words, because I also believe that show me where you are immediately, then I can make the decision, after the fact. And really it helps both of us out, right? Because later on down the road, you're not going to be surprised by anything, and I won't either.
Right.
Can I tell a quick little story?
Yeah.
Talking about cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we actually met, and this will take all y'all there. You were on stage with the Yin Yang Twins. You talking about cool shit? That's the first time I ever met.
because she had just got back from Atlanta.
That's the first time I ever met. Yeah.
Yes.
First time
Yes.
you on
I
stage
forgot all
with the
about
Yin
that.
Yang Twins,
Yes.
and we turned up that night. We had a ball.
Yes.
We had a ball. Yeah.
And JoJo.
We had a ball.
And that was my first
yeah.
time ever
Yeah.
seeing you perform.
Right. We
TJ,
turned up.
Yeah.
Adina, like all
Man,
these people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's your peoples. I mean, you work with so many different people in Atlanta, like, and once I remember once you figured out that, with Monroe and then the connection, and then actually it helped us with them.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, okay, this ain't just some little
We rocked
Monroe
up.
we coming to.
We
Like,
rocked
they,
up.
yeah, we got
up.
heavy hitters around,
Yeah, exactly.
And they turn up.
Yeah.
And that's love. That's love. That's the people that I surround myself with. Like I said, like I definitely had a lot of people that showed love in Atlanta just because of my position, and that was okay. You know what I mean? That just meant that wasn't anybody that I, was supposed to continue to stay in my life. But the people that showed and proved that I'm still connected with now, the rooms they in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Like I can make a phone call, and they looking out just off of love. It's not what I can do for them. Like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Right.
It's just
That's that's another thing too. Me and you always talk about too is like nobody keeps. We don't keep score. You know what I mean? That's a really big thing that people don't realize,
huge.
man. People keep score on everything.
Yep.
On who bought the round.
Yeah.
On who did the favor this time. On all. If you have to keep score, then what the fuck are you doing it for?
exactly.
You
You're
know
not
what I mean?
doing it for the right reasons, and you're
Exactly.
probably not going to have longevity and be successful.
Exactly.
You can't.
Exactly.
You absolutely can't.
When we're talking about Atlanta, so now I got to share an Atlanta story. because this is when I realized that Cuz was a heavy hitter. We're in Atlanta, and it's a slew of, I mean, we are a caravan of dope boys. You know what I mean? It's literally celebrities and dope boys. That's what it was. You know what I
TJ
mean?
don't forget shit.
Matter of fact, this right
real.
here, this song right here, you can't hear right now, but it's Geese when we was in the studio. West Coast Love, me, Geese, Dan Montana, Sly Piper, the song at the wedding hall. Anyway, so one of the nights we go to Club Essos. Remember that? And we're in the parking lot. First of all, we're in the parking lot and we're deep. We're dope boy deep.
The line is.
The lines are, this place is like your Kroger. This is what it looks like. Kroger, but it's a club.
Yeah.
Our literally local Kroger. That's how big it was. So anyway, we're in the parking lot. We're kind of waiting for Krissy to, get on the phone, do what she does. And a Maserati pulls up, cracks the window about this much, and was like, I'm gonna pay my $5 for this ahead of time. Monroe ass niggas. And we in Atlanta. You know what I mean? We like, huh? He rolls down the window. It's Keithy. He was out there with Life. Life Jennings. Shout out to Life Jennings and Keithy Dotson. So then we like, okay, we in here, whatever. And then Krissy goes, there's a bus pulls up. And Krissy's like, oh yeah, that's our cue. It's Amari Cooper, or I'm sorry, Amari Stoudemire, and
Didn't even remember all this.
that's me. What does Dorian call me? Norbit. I remember everything. Norbin.
Remember
Whoever that interviewer is. Anyway, it was Amari Stoudemire, if you remember Krissy, and then somebody that played for the Seattle Seahawks. It was their birthday party, and we got in there with them. There's a line of like probably 200 people, and we slide right past them. We feeling like, oh shit, we in here. We had just left the one spot. We was drinking Purple Rains.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, what you want? We like, oh, we drink Purple Rains. They just shit just starts happening. We walk in. It's literally a club. It's like 2,000 people.
Right.
3,000. I mean, this is a big, huge. If anybody knows what Club Esso is Club Esso still
that I don't
around?
know.
I don't even know if it's still around. But
I don't know. But the previous owner is still around, and that was my boy. Shout out to Alex Gidewan. If you don't know his name. What y'all say? Google him?
Google him.
Okay. He's been running Atlanta since Vision, back in the day. And, yeah, he always showed love. One of the biggest, promoters,
That's what I knew.
In the U.S.
This was back in like 2008-ish, 9-ish, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Krissy
maybe,
was like
maybe
12?
like a year later because I don't think I was living there. I think I went back.
No, you had
there
already,
with y'all.
you had already moved back here, so probably about
So it was like I
9,
moved back in
10-ish
2009,
maybe.
yeah. So it was maybe 2010, 11, yeah. But
I remember going, like at that moment, I'm in the club, and just because how we walked in, I'm single and ready to mingle at the time. I got the Atlanta big booties. This is before everybody had ass shots. I got Atlanta big booties. I got Asians with big booties walking up to me.
Right.
Like
Say authentic.
who is you and can I buy you a drink? Like, I was like, and that's when I realized my cousin is a motherfucking heavy hitter.
That's when
Boss.
ate
dawned on
a Red Sea party, and we walked in there like, we
Krissy's
here.
Right.
right, like this whole crew, they from where? Monroe, Michigan. Where
Yeah.
was that at? Money Row.
We was out there, the money roll.
We out here.
We out here. We don't get us started.
We out here.
Don't get us started.
money.
Oh man! Shout out to Mai.
Right. Shout out to
Shout out
Vegas.
to Mai.
Shout out to my girl Mai.
Yeah,
Shit.
we out here. We out here like Dusty McFly. Do you guys want to get into? You guys want to take a break before we get into some more stuff?
We can. Let's take a break.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. This is Beyond the Tracks podcast. Stay tuned. We'll see you in a second.
Hold on, it's break time.
So welcome back to the Beyond the Tracks podcast. We have Krissy Montague in the building. In
the building.
We had to, I like how that harmonized a little bit. It did. I heard it. I heard it in the headphones. We had to take a break. We had to take some pee-pee breaks, some potty breaks because I'm just going to let y'all know. Before the pod today, before y'all got down here, I was with Mikey Shu. Shout out to Mikey Shu, named Malvaca. I was with my boy Mikey Shu. He was down in the Maya's. Shout out to Tino. We went down there just for a quick one, just to show some love real quick before we start podding. A quick one, you know how that goes.
Right.
And then, of course, Laura's in there. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Jillian. She's sitting there. And then Natalie's behind the bar. Shout out to the whole staff over there. We love everybody over there, the Mayas. So shout out to them. So yeah, that's why we had to take a quick break, because I ain't gonna lie. I had broke the seal too early and I had to pee.
Party foul.
Before we go any further, once again, I want to do a quick mention of 8 Mile Vodka, born in Detroit. We handle candles, JC's Quality Construction, and Cheat Design. Shout out to our sponsorship. We appreciate y'all. So yeah, let's get back into it. Before we even get into some kind of a little bit more deeper things, and I want to go a deeper dive. While we have Krissy here, I want to say, and I'll let you do it, but I have to say a big shout out to John Wangler. it's his birthday the day that this comes out. We record on Wednesdays. This is going to come out in 2 days. It's Friday. It's his birthday on Friday. So big shout out to him, John from Top Cat Sales, who is...
Happy birthday to
Man,
you.
these are the most
Happy
dudes.
birthday to you.
I just rap.
Happy birthday.
Hey, we do it.
Yes.
We do it. We do it. He is very, very. He's just such an awesome dude. Every time, shout out to Jokes and Jams crew. Me and Krissy and Rome are part of a thing called Jokes and Jams. It's with Never Say Never Entertainment. It's a collaboration that we do for just jam sessions, comedy, music, all this stuff. And John is always supporting everything we do. So I want you to know that, John. Big shout out to you. And Krissy, say some things about John, because we were talking about him. I feel like it's only right that you talk about him real quick. You know what I mean? Give him a quick shout out. That's your man.
Shout out to John Wangler. He owns Top Cat Sales. He has his own clothing line called Valiant that you can find in any Emden in Michigan. He is a former Michigan quarterback with Anthony Carter through the winning pass.
Yeah.
I tease
Rose Bowl.
him, because I wasn't even born, or I was like 1 when that happened. But yeah, shout out to him. Met John when I moved back to Michigan when my company was
Right.
sponsoring Michigan, and the rest is history. He's always shown love. Him and I are very like-minded. He doesn't have a problem putting me in rooms if I'm a representation of him, and I do the same with him. And since then, he's always supported anything that Monroe does that I'm like, you need to be a part of it. He throws a check. He throws his support. He's come down, when my cousin was coaching varsity basketball at Monroe, he came down to speak to the kids and let them know, he talks about it. He now he has his own office, and now that college players can get paid for their name and likeness, he has, groomed his son, who also is a Michigan alum, and they now have a whole office dedicated to teaching these athletes, these college athletes, the right things to do. Everything from, being mindful about social media, talking about how to manage your money,
the ropes.
Not letting your homie be your manager.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how you can't put everybody on,
So what you saying, Krissy?
I mean, I'm just saying.
Financial responsibility.
That was almost the
manager.
downfall of me and my brother, but we'll talk about that later.
But that's why we are beyond the tracks.
Beyond the
because
tracks,
we have
but
grown.
Yes.
Facts.
So
But yeah,
shout out to that.
And to the dopest tailgate.
Okay.
Come on now, to
If
the
you've
dopest
never
tailgater.
Okay. That tailgate
That
been
dude
going on
right
since
before the tunnel, man.
74,
What?
75 when he was playing. Yeah, his parents
That's how long
started
that
it.
tailgate's been going
The
on. His
tailgate.
specific
Yep,
tailgate.
right outside the tunnel.
Dang.
Yes.
Yep, he has held that tailgate, and it's all love. You don't have to ask for anything. You don't have to want for anything when you're over there. But yeah, he just is a Renaissance man, and he
I've probably
supports.
seen him on the news 25,000 times.
Yeah. Oh, you absolutely have. He does. He does all of the.
I'm saying, before the game, they always panning the tailgaters and all that. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure he's been on there.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure, yeah.
Yep, and he does the commentating for all of the Michigan football state games, the the state tournament games and things like that. He also is in partnership with 8 Mile, born in Detroit, doing a lot of things. He just actually had a meeting with, talk about a small world, Tony Sacco at Moop's Pizza. He was.
Oh, has he? Okay. Shout out to Tony.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He called me. He was like, "Yo, I had a meeting, and it was about these, football helmets, but I'm in there just talking about something, and somebody was like, hey, somebody named Krissy Montague?" And it was Tony Sacco, and he was like, yeah, so small world, but yeah.
Shout out to Tony and Nick and Tiffany and everybody from over there at Tiffany's Pizza.
Exactly.
And Mary.
Yes.
Mary Sacco. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Showing love. So, yeah. Happy birthday, John.
Happy birthday, John.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
So, for the second half of the show, what I want to get into is me and Krissy always have these conversations. We have deep conversations all the time. That's my big cousin. She's like a mentor to me, and but we just have these conversations, you know what I mean? Just about life. And it's only appropriate, our first woman on the podcast, in her point of view on just women in the workplace. We have conversations about that. We have conversations about black women in the workplace. We have conversations about the double standard. So I kind of want to get into all that just to kind of set it up to, you know, and I guess I'll start it off with, we were in a conversation one day about, don't worry about that, Krissy, that's the ghosts upstairs. They ever since Nate Thompson and Stelios did the movie where they had the dead record in here, shit's been happening in here.
Right.
I don't know.
You did say horror movies.
I'm just saying.
Check that out on YouTube. You'll see it.
Yeah,
the dead
yeah.
record on YouTube.
Yep,
Search
the last scene
Nate
is right
Thompson.
here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we talk about this all the time, and we talked about like we talk about double standards sometimes, like women in the workplace and how, you know, we're progressing as the I'll just say United States, not as a world yet, but as the United States, like we're progressing, and over the last, you know, 6 or 7 years, there's been, you know, a lot of things that are changing, and there's always like two sides to it, you know what I mean? And one of the conversations that I believe that we had recently was talking about how to every woman that's doing it the right way, you know what I mean, and working and putting in the work, right, and doing it how you equally do it, and you want the equal rights, the equal pay, and all this stuff. There's also the other side of it, to where they kind of get in that office, right, and they're trying to get that promotion, and they might show a little cleavage, and they might, you know what I mean, and they kind of set it back, you know. And I when we talk about double standards, I thought, man, like, who more to talk about it than Krissy, because not only is she a woman, but she's a black woman. Not only she's a black woman in a corporate type setting, in rooms with a lot of heavy hitters, you know what I mean, and executives and things that old school, you know, they look down on that. Why is that woman in the room? Or they might, you know, pay them a little less attention, or, you know what I mean? So I kind of want to touch base on that. Let's just go with a conversation, I guess. You know what I mean?
That's what we do.
You know,
Yeah, just
I don't know, Krissy, what's your experience? Because you've been doing this for so long, and I feel like you have seen the change.
I have.
Because you've been doing this for what, 17 years? And the change
retail,
from when you first got
20.
into it till now. You know what I mean?
Now.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, it's been slow. I will say that.
A slow process?
It's been a very slow process.
Okay.
And I even hesitate to say sometimes progress, you know, because it's not the same all around, you know. Like, yes, I think that in the last probably 5-6 years, with the movements, with people being more okay with, you know, having differing opinions and things like that, we've seen, you know, you see everything from, you know, what's been happening with, you know, the U.S. women's soccer, you know, winning that lawsuit and finally getting more money. You see, you know, the WNBA, you see people like Dawn Staley, who's a black woman, who the money that she's making as a college coach, she's the first person to ever make that type of money as a women's college coach and a black woman, when somebody like Gino from, you know, University of Connecticut's been making that forever.
For years,
but it's
right.
like they're both coaching, you know, college
D1,
and you know, things like that. And you know, for the longest time, when you talk about women's sports, you know, they have to rely solely on endorsements, not their salaries, while you have these, you know, male professional athletes that, you know, I mean, look at what they're making. Look at, you know, it's ridiculous.
And it's not that they can't. It's not that they can't pay them. It's just they choose not to.
Well, let me ask you though, because on the other side of the table, they say that women's sports doesn't generate the revenue.
Doesn't gross.
Right. They don't gross as much, so they can't expect to be paid as much. You know, how do you feel about that, or what do you think about that? Do you think that plays a part in, you know, the big picture and what's going on?
So, from a professional standpoint, I think it's a cop-out because, and let's just use Detroit sports, right? if the WNBA, the Detroit Shock, remember when they were winning? They won like 4 or 5 years in a row. They were playing at the Palace of Auburn Hills. You know what I mean? Like the same facility that the Detroit Pistons play at. So at some point, it's not necessarily about, you know, how many butts are in the seat, but the place that they're playing, I mean, the money that they make from the NBA, like they could somehow, you know, make that work. It's not about necessarily the amount of people that are in the seats. And I don't say anything about college, because one thing that you will see with college sports, especially women's basketball, they have just as many fans as the men.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's why the NIL and, you know, the name and likeness is so important, because, you know, when it comes to college sports, it's the same side of the coin for men and women. The same way that men are getting these full scholarships and for the longest couldn't even barely pay, you know, they can't have jobs, right? But
they're limited. Yeah, they limit them for their pay, but then also don't let them accept
to keep them
you know?
committed.
Right.
So, yeah, I just want to touch on a little bit too, because what you were saying, like I think Rome was saying about, it's not as what's the word you use? Like there's not as many supporters or what have you. But I also think too, like they have the money. I don't think they do the promotion to make it that big. You know, for men's sports, it's dun 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 dun. You know, for women's sports, it's like we got some girls playing.
Right.
Yeah. That's a great point.
You know
That's what I was.
So
just
if they
thinking
took some of that money and really promoted it to be as big as what it really truly is, then I think you would have more fans. I think you would have more.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of women sports fanatics out there.
There is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
and
I
the
mean,
young girls
Yeah.
that want to go to the games, and honestly, to speak to that, just in this last year, by my friend Simone, was introduced to someone that her job strictly was at the, you know, for the New York Liberty, was to get more butts in the seats, right? And it was crazy because throughout the times that I spent with her and we were at games and seeing certain things, one of the things that they realized, and now a lot of the WNBA teams are now doing, is what they decided was, so, you know, like fans love to see the NBA players. So now what the WNBA is doing is they are partnering with their NBA counterparts to make sure that they come to the WNBA games, because that in turn draws the fans to them, right? So if you're at, you know, it's not the Brooklyn Nets playing, it's the New York Liberty, but if you have players that play for the Brooklyn Nets that are sitting courtside or are there, more people are now coming. So they use, you know, so these WNBA players were using their platform, their Twitter, their Instagram, their Facebook to be like, this is where I'm at tonight, y'all need to come. And people started buying more tickets and things like that. And they have started to do more community outreach together, more camps and things together to get more, you know, people in the seats, you know, from a professional standpoint. But when it comes to college, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, men or women. If it's a school that the boosters are, the school has that money, you can afford to pay that coach, whether it's a women's coach, you know what I mean? Whether it's, you know, women's sport or not. And that's why I say, like, it's sad that it's taken this long for Dawn Staley or a woman to be paid what she's getting paid.
Yeah. Especially if they're winning.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
It's different if you going, you know, 2-36.
But you winning championships.
Right, you winning championships.
The same way that a male coach is, but you're getting less than half.
Like you said, it's a reflection of America, though. That's
true.
That's basically, you know, how
We
it is.
always are less than.
Exactly. I would say that's all. I mean, it shouldn't be. I'm not saying exactly I agree with it, but I agree with the point that we've always been treated, because they'll tell you it's not really what you earn, it's what you negotiate.
That's true.
You know, so they basically saying it's your fault.
Right.
That you don't make that.
Right.
Basically.
And you know
but
what?
Mind you, they hold the hammer. They hold the
Right.
right to say yes or no. You can only negotiate so far, you know. But they'll tell you, you know, it's not about, you know, what you've done. It's what you can negotiate.
Right.
You know?
And that's like, I think of, I mean, most people know that I'm a nurse, right? I've been a nurse for almost 30 years. So going into nursing, I really thought that's a female-dominated field, right? So I went in thinking that I'm now going to be in the woman's point of view, right? I'm going to have to work harder. I'm going to have to do all this stuff. What I really found out was early on in my career, they came to me first to be the supervisor, to be all this stuff. So because of that, which in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't do much, but they came to me because I was that male figure, right? So of course, like you said, negotiating. Okay, you want me to be the supervisor? I need more money, right? Excuse me. So as my career has grown, now I'm in a position where I always go into buildings and I become a supervisor. I become top tier. The reason for that is because I have so much more experience, because I was given that opportunity. And I believe I was given that opportunity because I was a man. And I really thought that I was going to have to struggle with that going into that. You know what I mean? And I didn't. And so it's like, you know, sometimes like I just talked to a director of mine and she's like, man, like you've done a lot. Like you got so much experience. Like you want to be my assistant director of nursing? No, I'm comfortable where I'm at. But it's just because of who I am. This woman has known me 6 weeks. She wants me to be her assistant director of nursing. You know, she don't know anything about me. She don't know. She's just seen what I do in 6 weeks. Now, could that be a pat on the back to me? I hope so. But also, with this conversation, I think, is it just because I'm a black man and she feels like I'm more of an enforcer figure and I can get these ladies under control? You know what I mean? So,
but it also is partly with every other industry. You know, a lot of companies shy away from putting women in leadership because, and especially black women in leadership, because the same way that they wanted you to be that, and like you just said, an enforcer, I could be the same. We could say the exact same thing, but me being a black woman, I'm aggressive. I'm, it's.
Yes.
That's the
You're louder, so when you talk, they listen.
And that was my next question.
Type.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what they look.
That literally is the story of my whole entire career, the story of my life. I can say the exact same thing that my white or my male counterpart says, and I'm, aggressive or too emotional.
I was going to say emotional.
So let me ask you a question. Have you ever been asked in a professional capacity to tone down your blackness? And what I mean by that is you can just look at you and tell the way you dress, your pendants, you're unapologetically black. Have you ever been told in so many terms to, bring that down? And bring that blackness down.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about it, I haven't just been told that by white people. I've been told that by black people that are
pulling the layer back.
Higher
You're peeling the
than
layer back
me.
now.
I've been told that by people that are higher than me, like, hey, Chris,
right?
You want to grow, you want to, climb and get higher. Sometimes you got to play the role. You might have to tone it down a little bit. You're loud, you're extra, you're this. And for a long time, I conformed.
Right.
I literally conformed. And I will say this. It took one man, and it's ironic because this man is white, but he's Australian, and he was a director with my company, and I had to do a training that he wanted to kind of watch and see. And he knew me, had been in plenty of trainings with me, had been in all types of stores with me, and knows who I am, because I'm the jokester, I'm wild, I'm crazy, I'm fun, but everybody learns something, you know. It's not a distraction, you know, and that's how it was told to me at times. And so when I had to do a training for him and like a team, I toned it down a little bit. And after the training, he came up to me and he said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, that wasn't the Chris that I'm used to. And I said, because I got feedback that, you know, sometimes my humor is a distraction to what I'm teaching or training and this, and that. And he was like, whoever told you that, he basically was like, you need to tell them to go to hell. He said, because that's what makes you, you. He said, you walk into a room and you command a room before you say anything by how I'm dressed or the expression on my face or, you know, I just am an approachable person. He said, the person that I just watched, that's not you. And had he not said that to me, I probably still would have attempted to, you know, conform the last like 4 or 5 years. And that's a lot of times what happens. And that's the sad part, is when it comes from somebody that looks like you. Right. Because that means that like I can now, without you telling me, I can now tell exactly what, you know, you've gone through. But there have been times in my career, like I've never had my picture on my email, you know, because for a lot of reasons, you know what I mean? Like I've never done that. You know, I can't tell you how many times that I've communicated with somebody via email, and then when, you know, I finally go to meet them in person, they're like, wait, you're Chris? I sure am.
Right.
I sure am.
Right.
You know? And it's like, or I've gone to places and they just didn't think that I was the one that was in charge, you know, because of because of what I looked like when I walked in, whether it was me being black, whether it was me with big hair, whether it was me with, you know, my tattoos or anything like that. And, you know, I'm just a firm believer in, if, you know, I know what I'm doing, if I'm doing the job that I'm getting paid for, what I wear, what I look like, any of that, like, you know, it shouldn't matter. Right. You know, I'm not breaking any HR policies, you know, and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely like from a salary perspective, that's a fight. That's a fight, and I think that it's going to continue to be a fight. You know, and then you have to deal with the people that think that you are in the position that you are in because you're a minority. That part, right. You know what I mean? And that's a difficult situation. I can imagine. You know what I mean? And there probably have been times where I definitely am not a result of that, but I have seen it. I've seen it a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, and I have sat in on interviews with black women that, you know, were not necessarily, and black men that they knew and I knew that they got the position. They did get the position because, you know, when everybody was going through the Black Lives Matter, you know, all these companies were like, okay, like, you know, like we need to, let's hire, you know what I mean?
We got to open the door.
We got to color. We got to hire some people of color.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got to cover is what they were saying. We got to cover. We got to cover with color.
But also what happened in that, there was like this mass hiring of people that were not qualified.
Right.
And you set people up for failure. And that actually makes it
worse.
It makes it worse. It makes it worse. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like there are other candidates, you know what I mean? And so I remember having conversations with people like, listen, that were like, I know I got this position. And I would be like, listen, do not give those keys away until you feel like your onboarding or your training is complete. Because if you feel in your heart, and we know that you got this position because of your skin color, you're not going to be able to keep it, you know?
So you find yourself like maybe overtraining, I don't want to use the word overprotecting, but protecting women, people of color, when they come into a position, because you already know they're kind of looking for them to fail?
Yes, absolutely. It's like, and it's not that they're looking for them to fail, but they're not expecting for them to succeed.
Right.
Let's say that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because, you know, gotta sometimes make people feel good, even though they probably were thinking what you said. Yes, because it's like, especially when you have people that have like, let's say like uprooted their whole family for a job and moved across. Listen, work hard, prove them wrong. You know, you were put in this position for a certain reason, but they'll look for every reason to, you know, get you out, because all they needed to do was say that they hired somebody.
Correct.
Yeah. See, that I want to touch on that real quick is that to the people out there listening, especially the young people, when you go into a situation and you know that's the case, you know that you're only there for a certain reason and they're expecting you to fail, the biggest motivator is proving them the fuck wrong.
Facts. I've been doing that all my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Same.
There's no bigger like yes moment than going ha.
That's it.
Ha.
Ha,
right? And that's okay to do.
It
I was
is.
like, seriously, it's okay to say, ha, look at me. I did it. And I did it the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And with, you know, with the stuff that we're talking right now, especially, you know, we started off with talking about double standard, and, you know, we've all had this conversation before, and I want to relate it to, like, even, like, and we're going to get right back to the women, but just to put it on a different scale for a second, black men, right, for example, okay? So I want to touch on something, because what happens is sometimes as a black male, you do the right thing, you do what you're supposed to be doing, right? And then you see somebody come in that they give a chance to, and you go, no, come on, man. It's that come on, man moment. Come on, man. You just set us back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because the reality is we're trying to prove ourselves even though we shouldn't have to.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you get to proving yourself, and then all of a sudden somebody comes in and you go, come on, man. And you try to pull them to the side, and you have to tell them, hey, you're actually setting us back. And I say that to put it, so let's go back to the women, for example. And this is where, like I said, the double standard type stuff comes in, is for every woman that does it like a Krissy Montague, right? Mm-hmm. There's also a woman that does it with the cleavage, or, you know, and I'll put this in quotations for y'all just listening. I'm putting in quotations, the woman that sleeps her way to the top, for lack of better terms, right? Mm-hmm. And that is tough, because you do have those. And what they don't realize is they're actually setting the progress back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's a very important thing that's not talked about enough. That, hey, you have to be responsible. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You have to be responsible for who you're representing. Yep. You're actually setting it back.
Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean? It's also sometimes too, I think that people assume that, for example, Krissy, she's making strides, she makes her way to the top. There's people sitting back going, wonder who she's sleeping with. Oh. You know what I mean?
And I get that, and I get that, but
the ones that actually do it.
I was about to say, well, the people that when Krissy, we'll just keep using you, when you're at that point of your career to where people try to say stuff like that are under you or not there yet or whatever, the people that should know and the people that are important, they know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You don't have to prove something to everybody. You know what I mean? But that's what I mean. That's the thing, though. They can think that all day, but did you? But the real people know that you didn't. The people that are in the positions that actually that matter.
Know you,
I'll just say it, that matter, right?
And that see you in those rooms and see you in those circles. You know, I always comment on my fiance. You know, one of the reasons that him and I work so well is because, and he never is like, ooh, you know, he has been in spaces with me, you know, sitting, you know, backstage with 2 Chainz, like having drinks and chilling. Never in his mind is he like, oh yeah, like, wait a second, like, how you know him, or you know what I mean? Like, like the people that know you, they understand. But yes, it is. It's sometimes, you know, perception means more than reality to a lot of people. They don't.
Well, a lot of times perception becomes reality. We always talk about that. It's their reality. Reality is subjective. Mm-hmm. We talk about that a lot too. Right. And here's a question for you, Krissy, is that in that situation, do you feel obligated because you have you have made these accomplishments, do you feel obligated to pull those people to the side and say, hey, listen, this is how you actually do it. Like, you know, you do it this way. Forget what you're thinking. This is how you have to do it. Or like when you see somebody going in the path of doing the wrong thing to move up, do you feel obligated to pull them to the side as a woman to another woman and say, hey, you don't have to do it like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
You know what I mean? Do you feel, I mean, or have you been in that situation, I guess?
And I shouldn't, like, if I wasn't doing that, like, if people don't do that, like, you need to take a step back. Like, you shouldn't be in the position that you're in. I am and sometimes it has gotten me in trouble because I speak my mind, you know what I mean? And I have had those conversations, and the women that I've spoken to didn't always receive it, you know, because also you have to look at, you know, a lot of times with women, you know, there is that jealousy angle, and especially and unfortunately in the Black community. And that's been the hardest thing for me, and why I always speak on that. And when I'm always like, we all can eat. You and I can do the exact same thing. I can give you my whole notebook on my expertise, and we still can eat. You know what I mean? Like, we can, you know,
But you
then
gotta
we can
read
do
the
a
book.
million podcasts.
gotta read the book.
You know, I can have a podcast just like y'all. And you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but
that's
we
the
gonna
type of
shut it down.
confidence that you should have. It should not be, you know, a competition, or you shouldn't always have it in the back of your mind. Oh, you know, well, she's just saying that because she don't want to see me grow. Like, she a hater. That's what it is.
We have a saying around here. If
Yeah.
money start falling from the sky, we actually gonna catch more together than we would trying to fight.
You grab a corner.
If
and
we
you
grab a
corner,
blanket,
I
or
grab
we
a
work
corner
together,
of a
right?
blanket.
Anything.
Let's catch it.
We gonna get more together than we would each individual trying to, you know, do it separately. And that's what we
Absolutely.
preach.
Absolutely. And you know, that has been like a common conversation in the Black community, right? Is because, you know, whether it's for negative or for good, other races, they come together.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean?
They
And
sure do.
sometimes for us, it's like it's a competition, and it shouldn't be. But I won't ever stop speaking, and you know what I mean? And I'm also a huge advocate of, it doesn't matter somebody's position. Like, I will have a conversation with somebody that's like 2 steps above me, the same way that I would have a conversation with somebody that's where I was 17 years ago, because it's really all just about the delivery, you know? And that's what's important, is just having those conversations, you know? Like,
I heard something not too long ago. It was something on the lines of, like, I talk to the CEO the same way I talk to the janitor.
absolutely.
I've said it on the podcast a
Yeah,
couple
okay.
times. Yeah, actually, from you know, I got that from was
50 Cent.
Nope.
He does have some gems.
he does. Back in the day, he had some. Anyway.
Back in the day.
No, this was after what's his name got hit by that Walmart truck. I'm having a brain fart right now because I've been
Tracy
drinking
Morgan.
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan. Tracy
Yeah,
Morgan was on the
yeah.
Breakfast Club, and he was preaching to him. You know what I mean? Everybody in the room. You know how he gets going on his
Yep.
rants, but it was all making sense. He was like, man, the dude that just brought me water, like. I'd much kind of rather have a conversation with him, like ask him how his day's doing. I know how y'all's day doing. No disrespect, but he said, I know how y'all's day's doing. You know what I mean? So you talk to the janitor the same way you talk to the CEO. You talk to the doorman the same way you talk to the person that's interviewing you, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I have said that before, because I actually, once I get, you know, I'm at this mature part of my life where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the relationships, you never know what that dude's going through. That relationship right there, it doesn't have to do anything with business, but life, right? Like, so his life might have changed because you gave a shit about him that day, right? And there's so many different times I think where we feel like, to feel better, and this is Black people. I'm talking to Black people in general right now specifically, is that we feel like we can't. We're weak for doing something like that, or we have to feel like we're above something because we're always trying to prove ourselves as dominance, and that we belong in a room, that we think that we have to walk in the room as we're the man, and go get me my water type shit. That's not actually what it is. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it too is, I mean, white, black, Asian, it doesn't matter. When people have low self-esteem, their purpose is to break you down so that they don't feel so bad about themselves.
But
and unfortunately, because of the trauma and things like that of black people, we tend to do it more.
Yes, we've had this conversation before, and I'll bring it up again. I think we had this conversation, one of our first episodes we ever did, is we was talking about walking, how you walk into a room, right? And how we think that you wear your jewels and you wear your most expensive stuff and everything because we think we are taught that gets you the acceptance because you're trying to prove yourself because they're already looking at you. No, actually, they're laughing at that.
Yeah, that's 1,000%.
You know what I mean? They're laughing at that, and I used to have the chain. We just talked about this a couple podcasts ago. I used to have the chain and walk in the room, the yellow and white diamonds and teeth. The frames is what we call them.
Can I just say this though, real quick?
You used to think that that's what you needed to get the attention first for them to respect you.
Yeah.
That's not it. Once you know.
Yeah.
True, but I don't want to paint that as a blanket statement because all people don't think like that. You know,
No.
And that's not what I mean. Even black people, all black people really don't think like that. I don't want to paint a broad stroke and say
No, that's why I said. That's why I said.
people,
That's why I said.
Not really. With that, it's basically maturity, right? Intelligence and self-control. Once you know, you know. You know, it's not so much that you trying to wear my jewels to outshine or something. In some instances, in some places, that's appropriate. Do you know what I mean? In black culture, you know.
Right.
But in other rooms, that's not appropriate.
Right, but that's
you
what
wouldn't know that if you didn't have the intelligence or the maturity or the self-control.
But
that's what
and here's a but that's what I'm saying though is we don't know that.
Right.
As a black community.
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't. Majority of what I'm talking about, and I'm not saying majority of black people, I'm just saying majority of who I'm speaking to is the people that don't know that they don't have to be like that. They can be them.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Do you think there's rooms within the black culture that even like you or I can walk in and not feel welcome or not feel, and I'm talking about with black people.
Yep.
Yes.
Do you believe that?
I absolutely believe that.
Say that one more time. I just want to make sure I heard you right.
My question was
I've been in that
because
room.
I didn't want to paint a blank.
Okay.
Yeah.
My question was: do you think there's, as black people in this room, there's rooms that you would go in with other black people and would feel uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because it's the room. It's the room.
And the reason that all of us at this table can say that is because of one, where we are right now and the place that we've grown up.
Right.
Because I will never, ever forget, growing up in Monroe and then I went to away to school to Battle Creek first, and I played volleyball. And I remember when I transferred to Eastern Michigan. And, my roommates were black, and, it was a culture shock for me, even though I've been to Ipsy a million times. But being on campus at Eastern, I will never forget walking into the eateries my first day with my cousin, Nisi, may she rest in peace, and our roommates, black from Detroit, and it was segregated. You walked into the eateries, and it's like black people on one side, and I was like,
Where they do that?
I remember when Ashley
wait a
went
second.
there. I remember
Like,
seeing
I'm not,
that.
I didn't feel, even though I was with my roommates, there still was this part of me that was like, I'm so used to walking into rooms that are opposite, where it's like I'm the only black person, and I gotta like think about that. But yes, there have been times where I walk into rooms, and even still to this day, because I have friends from all over, and when I hang out with my homegirls, like, yo, meet me at Starters over, and nobody's even thinking about it, right? But in my mind, I think back to previous, it's almost like a PTSD, because I spoke a certain way back in the day. I remember when I first went to Eastern, and my second year when I moved in with my roommates, which my roommates ended up being some people that were going to Concordia, and they were white, and they were friends with me in high school. And when my black friends from Eastern would come over, they're from Ipsy and Ann Arbor, and most of their like best friends and stuff, they were like, wait,
what in the
you
different strokes is going on?
Yeah. They were like, wait a second, like, you trust it? Like,
Right.
you feel like
Right.
comfortable with them. And you know, and for the first like year or so, I remember being so stressed out because it was like, okay, I gotta go with my white roommates on Thursday to Diamondback Saloon to have the quarter beers and and then on Saturdays and Sundays I had.
Oh no, that's right off
bar.
No, that's on 94.
Okay,
94
quarter beers.
Okay,
I
everybody
used-
done been there.
I used to live right off the Rossonville exit.
Okay,
I used to
was
work at
lying.
Bellwoods Nursing
Yep.
Center right
Yes.
down the street.
Diamondbacks used to have.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna tell you how old you are because you did quarter, we did 50 cent. But it's a different. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to hate on
When we was
nobody.
there, it was
50
quarter,
cent when
but
I was there.
doing
but-
my little line dance and all
Right.
of that, hanging out with them. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I'm at Studio 4 in Ann Arbor with, you know, my black people or at Wooden Nickel. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I was so exhausted from trying to like figure, okay, like I gotta prove to the black people, and then I gotta, you know, still be cool with the white people that have known me from Monroe and how I was there, and this and that. And
I don't want to be too hood.
yes, I don't.
So Ron, let me ask you: have you ever been in a room full of black people that you felt uncomfortable?
Not once, bro. Not
Wow.
once. But it's a reflection
Well,
of my upbringing.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Because
say.
I moved to Monroe after I was grown.
Yeah.
I grew up with nothing but black people, where you didn't really have access to, you know, but other than what you were around.
Yeah.
So
And I don't know,
when you say uncomfortable, I never felt uncomfortable because of my race. I may have felt uncomfortable because of the seediness that may have been in the room.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Dudes
yeah,
just
that's
set me
what I
up or
was about to
something.
say.
Yeah,
but
that's
because
different.
no.
Like
There's
in
never.
Atlanta, I was telling the story earlier about Atlanta. That same week when I was in Atlanta, I remember being in Buckhead, which if people don't know out there, Buckhead was the rich neighborhoods. You know what I mean? And I remember being in a certain person's house, and I won't say who is, but like he kept like, because I was being me, because I don't know how else the fuck to be me. You know what I mean? And I cuss. I'm bro black son, and I move different. You know what I mean?
choice.
And
the
there was a
whole
couple of us that
thing.
moved different, and the people that I was with, there was a couple people that were moving different when we were in that neighborhood, and I was just like, why are y'all acting like that? And I didn't, you know what I mean? I'm not thinking that I got to change, but I'm in a room full of black folks. Like I'm not, you know what I mean?
Right.
Why are you talking different, right? And that was like my experience of being uncomfortable my first time being uncomfortable in a room full of black folks, or I'll just say minorities, period, because there was black, Mexican, Puerto Rican, and I was just kind of like uncomfortable, like, why are we switching up for this? Motherfucker?
Right.
Who the fuck is this motherfucker?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we actually ended up getting into it by the end of the week, me and this individual, because, you know what I mean, he wanted to talk about the way I talk, and I told him,
Yeah.
I went bro black, you know, and
right.
you know, that shit happens, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but I still get all the sides of it. I think, especially with being biracial, you grow up and you're too white for the black community. Sometimes you feel that way, and then sometimes you feel like you're too black for the white community. And that is something that's a real thing here in Monroe when you grow up
They go another
biracial.
layer.
I know it's
They go another layer.
so different now
comment
because there's so
section
many
gonna be
different biracial people, but
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I was born
you
in the 80s.
had to make a decision.
You know,
That's true.
Yeah, and there's
There
a lot.
was
And you know what?
certain
And I
age that
love
you had to make a decision.
and I love the fact that some of the white dudes that I grew up with and fuck with had no problem with coming down the Conant with me. You know what I mean? They loved it, and we was in Greenwick Lane. Derek has this fucking. He grew up in a big, beautiful house right next to the high school, right on her road, and he used to love coming to Greenwick to fuck with me. And I was like, why the fuck do you want to come here? I'm trying to come to your big ass crib with a pool and a hot tub and a basketball court and all this stuff. And we loved going to each other's thing, and we loved learning about each other, and we love, you know what I mean? And I think that being mature, even, and I know I'm going all over the place, but even being mature now, especially living in Arizona, I was like, I love going to Dirk Bentley Whiskey Row.
Right.
I know that that's not supposed to be my bar, a country bar, but it was off the chain, and then they was teaching me how to line dance, and I love learning their culture, and they love learning about my culture. Like, you know, once you get to that
need
level where
video.
you don't. Well, I'm just saying, the point is when you get to that certain maturity level, you appreciate being able to have conversations with different people and still being you. You know what I mean? With a mature enough audience that they listen to what you say, and you. And
I used to always feel like I had to turn a switch on and off.
Rome always calls
You know
it
what I'm
the credit voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta turn your credit voice
Yeah.
on. You talking to your credit
Exactly.
voice.
And that's
Exactly.
that's
Voice.
true. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
your customer
and like,
service voice.
Yeah.
and sometimes like
And we all got it.
I'll notice, especially some
I just did it today. I
some
had it on the
bros.
phone. Sorry.
I notice them trying to do it, and I'll be like, bruh.
Using the
I ra-
wrong words.
I'd rather just be yourself. You trying to say circumstance, and you talking about of
Exponentially.
the whole circumcision. And I'm like, do
T.I.
you know what that
exponentially.
is? Do you know what?
Can I get
exponentially.
the? Can I get that peanut? Can I get that Pinot Noir? The Pinot Noir? Wait a second, sir.
what's
Just say you want the white
I can't even pronounce that. And please pass that for Stacey.
Stacey's, okay, exactly.
Real talk. Real
But
talk
you
where
know
I'm
what
from.
I've learned as I've gotten older with the switch? What a lot of people don't understand when it comes to people like us that have grown up in a white community, it's and this is what I figured out. It's not like it's not a switch.
predominantly white community,
Yes,
by the way.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's not a switch. Cause I'll notice, like, I don't look at my phone and be like, okay, this is a white person calling, and as soon as I start talking, I'm like, it's not a, it's
No,
like,
you talk that way when
it's
you- when I'm calling you.
automatic. It's like, it's just,
Right.
it just is what it is. And it's one of those things where you're just feeding off of the person that you're communicating with.
Yes.
That's all that it
Yes.
is, because, and what made me realize that is when I, being around, black people that were from like all black communities, and not necessarily Detroit, or when I was living in Atlanta and stuff like that, I would be talking to them, in a professional setting, and they started talking like, I was. And, and I've been a huge proponent of the, let's not say, like, what does talking white
Right.
mean, right?
Oh, I was just about to get to that. I was going to get into that for the.
It's just
we're about to
being,
get to that.
it's just
mean.
getting, it's
Credit
just
voice.
proper.
Right.
You know what I
I get
mean?
that.
But yes, it's not
black
a,
people will
it's
shun
not
you.
a switch. Yes, and but it's
And
not
I'll
a
shun
switch.
black people. I have no problem with it.
It's not.
With
It's
proper-
not a
with proper
switch.
English.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what?
I have been
there's-
told that so many times.
and you just posted. I just seen something on your Snapchat today. As a matter of fact, I love when you post things, man. Because I know kind of a lot of people that are in your circle, and I know that a lot of people would get this and they would back you on this. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I love your friend Mary. I love. Mm-hmm. Did we shout out Mary yet? MJR.
haven't.
Okay,
MJR, we
MJR
gonna
Photography,
shout out.
Mary
Yep, Mary.
Renwick. So anyway, yeah. So and I love seeing your Snapchats and your memes and everything, because they hit
Mm-hmm.
home, and we talk about this all the time, and like at least once a year I probably post something about this. But remember the show Dear White People? Mm-hmm. You remember
never
that?
saw it.
You never
I
saw
never
it? Great show, by the way. But there's so many times that I love having conversations with white folks that are, and I'm not saying white folks as in, like they're not me. Like I love everybody, you know what I mean? And I love having conversations with people that want to have these conversations, so I can explain to them, hey, it's actually offensive when you say, you don't talk that black. One thing that I remember, A-Dub one time.
Do the impression. Do the impression.
It ain't the time for it. I know. But no, look. One time, and I got so upset because this dude said, A-Dub, I'm blacker than him, in front of A-Dub. And I got so upset, and I said, what makes you blacker than A-Dub? He's like, well, you know how he talks. And I'm like, you've never been pulled over and blatantly been told you've been pulled over because you were black in a white community, or you've never been looked at a certain way. Like you haven't had those experiences, so you can't say that. Right. Or like when people say, like you said earlier, hey, you talk white. Talking educated isn't a race. It's talking educated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Moving a certain way. Me, how I wear my pants. That's not
not
you
black,
don't wear
it's
your,
a white.
you don't sag your pants, so you're being real white. No. I'm being real. How I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
How a man's supposed to be.
Yeah.
A man's supposed to put
You're
on his
just-
pants and wear them. How about
Yeah,
that?
you're just you.
So
and
it's like
that's the unfortunate
yes.
part. In the white community, it's like, oh, that's just how Mike dresses or whatever. But it's a lot of times, a majority of time in the black community, that it's like, you talk white or you dress
Absolutely.
white or you know what I mean? Like I'm just.
But
I've actually said
I
it.
grew up
remember.
in the wigger.
I said
the
you have to
wigger
remember
age.
though.
Oh, yeah,
that
you did.
My friends
there's
were
deep-rooted
wiggers.
reasons.
Oh, I know. I understand
There's
that.
people pass that down from generation to generation. There's reasons why people don't just wake up one morning and be like,
No, I get that.
They feel a certain way when you talk like that, because it's been inbred in them to
But just
basically notice that.
Yeah.
But just like Krissy, we were talking earlier, and I asked her, do you feel obligated to tell these women that they don't have to do a certain thing? I feel obligated when that happens to tell people, hey, that's not your place to say
Right. Absolutely.
what I sound like.
And
what I
you
do.
should.
Right.
And you should.
I had to break down a family member. A family member.
Oh, I have too.
You know what I mean? Like, this particular person was like, well, I'm blacker than you. I was like, sweetheart, that is physically impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
I said, your mother is white.
Right.
Your father is white. Both of your grandparents on both sides
She was speaking
are
culturally.
white. I said, it's impossible for you to be, quote, blacker than me.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. I said, no, I don't.
No.
I said, now you might be more hood than me. You might be more miseducated than me, but you can't be blacker than me. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
My dad is purple.
Yeah.
You know
and a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying?
times
Blue
when
black.
white people say that, they forget that
Wrote a song about him.
they won't ever if you keep it real with them, like when white people say that, like, okay, do you want to switch places? They sure wouldn't.
no.
They sure wouldn't.
break that down.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't.
Keep
And that's
killing it.
why in the black community, when that happens and when it used to happen back in the day, I always would say something because it's like, listen, obviously back in the, slave days and when we were going through the civil rights, that was not a great, time, but it was a time that black people, it didn't matter
Right.
how light you were, how dark you were.
was black.
You was black.
Period.
You in the fields. You not voting. You not allowed to date outside. You know what I mean? And so it's like we need to think like that. And then to the white people that would be like, oh wow, like I'm more black than you, but you want to switch places with me? No,
Nope.
you would not.
Hell no.
No, you know
Okay.
what? Chris Rock has a great bit about that. You guys remember when Chris Rock said, he was like, I'm rich. You remember that? He goes,
But
I'm
not wealthy.
rich.
Yes.
But not none of y'all white folks
me
in
say
here
this,
would
though.
switch places with me.
Never.
And he goes, and
not
I'm
even
rich.
Oprah.
But hold
I
on.
heard it.
Let me pull a layer back
Okay.
because this young generation, I do believe there are some young males, white males, and young white females because they don't know about the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
They don't know about the struggle of black
History's
people.
starting to get lost in the
They
sauce.
really want to be black. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely.
They speak it. They
But how about
walk
this?
it.
Well,
They
you have- but you
act
know
it.
what,
You,
though?
you have people that say, I identify as black.
Right, but that's fine too. But I want to wake up one day and I want to identify as a fucking rich person, right?
You rich.
I'm saying you can't say you can't.
always
You,
talk
I
about
can't.
he
Okay,
rich,
but hold on. What I'm saying is I can't go into a loan office, right? Mm-hmm. And they go, "Excuse me, sir, with this, such and such credit score."
No, you say I identify
I
with
said,
an
no,
850
hold
person.
on. Before you look at that, just to let you know, I identify as 800 credit score.
There you go.
You can't do that.
You can't.
You can. They're
Yeah,
gonna tell you to
can
get
kicked
the hell out
the
of the bank.
Exactly.
But I
We
will
had
say
an
this.
example. What was the girl? Rachel Don's. What was her name?
Oh, Dolezal or whatever.
Dolezal. We had an
Like
example.
everybody thought
Yeah.
that she was black.
and she
Mixed.
said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm black. What are you
passed.
talking about?
Yeah.
What?
There's people who white who want to be black,
Yeah.
And
but
that's
they,
a whole- and
They
that's a
want to be
whole-
but
black.
they don't understand. Right?
They don't
And
understand
that's a small
everything that-
percentage.
everything
Let's keep it real.
They want
That's
the
a small
pros.
percentage.
Yes, it is.
Of people
Yeah.
that want to be in the
They don't know
black
the-
culture. But what
they
they
don't
don't
know the
understand is like what is it, to me. This is my opinion on it. Is that hip hop culture, for example, people associate that they want to be hip hop culture with black culture, and
Right.
it's different.
It is very different.
It's very,
Completely
very different. And you have to know the difference of what you're trying to be. To lighten it up a little bit here.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm
we
gonna
was
share.
getting ready-
I'm gonna
to
share a
do some
funny story about this. I thought was funny. All right, y'all might not think it's funny. I thought it was fucking hilarious. So I'm at work. I just started the job. I just moved back from Arizona. Just got this job. I'm getting trained by this dude. And damn, I was about to say something. And if people are listening, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. Anyway, all right, let me start. Okay, all right, I'm back. So dig.
Break time.
so dig. We're all sitting. There's about 4 of us sitting there, and we're talking about some people that used to work there. You know what I mean? And how the turnover rate is just crazy. Like there's people coming in and out, keep coming in and out. And this dude was like, "Yeah, remember such and such, you know." And this is exactly how it said. He goes, "You know, remember such and such, you know, with the dreads, black guy." He's talking, right? So I'm gonna talk to you. So Rome's me. I'm him. I'm gonna talk to you. He goes. You guys can't see Krissy right now. She's moving her seat. He looks, he goes, you know, black guy, dreads, and then goes, he was a good guy though. And I let him finish. Hold on. I let him finish because I was like, this is awesome. I don't give a fuck. I thought it was the funniest fucking thing because I'm like, oh, I'm about to tell this motherfucker all about himself and everybody around here so they know who the fuck I am when I start working. And then I let him finish and I let him go and I sat back and go, so he was good because he was good because you assume that he would be bad because he's black
with dreads.
And no. And that was how I made it. How I tried to make it fun. I said, or it's because you don't like dreads, you know.
Right.
And I start talking shit about the stereotypical dread because they're dirty. Right. Or because, and so I just start just talking a gang of fucking shit. I really, and I know it's not it's actually a real thing and it's not funny, but that's kind of where I'm at right now is where I try not to get upset so much about certain things. So like little stories like that, like I take fucking funny. I take hilarious. When people think that because they think because, especially because of the way I talk, is a little bit more proper. You know what I mean? So when I talk, and sometimes the funny thing is some of these people, they forget who they're in the room with and they'll say something and they might not say the N-word or something like that, but they say something that's really out of line. And it's one of my favorite pastimes is just making fucking fun of all of it. While I'm in the fucking thing, while I'm in the heat of kind of being mad and my switch got turned a little bit, but also saying it in a way I'm going to say it and make fun of you where everybody else is going to laugh and I'm going to make you think about it later. That's kind of my goal with it sometimes. And, you know, that's just the way I deal with it. Right. You know what I mean? As I go, hey, I want to turn this around to where everybody else looks at it like, oh, right. Yeah, TJ, man, fuck that guy for what he said. You're right. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people that do, you know, they'll make jokes about it because it makes them feel comfortable. They don't want to start any, especially black people. They don't want to start any trouble. Yeah. Right? And
Some black people. Black people turn right up.
Then, yes.
Listen, they don't even be being racist. They be like, bro, you out of line. You can't wear slippers to work. You can't roll up, bro. You can't roll up right now, you know? Hey, you know it. Y'all know it. And because y'all black, he coming to you first. See what I'm talking about?
I'll tell you what's crazy.
Why they messing with me? Bro, you been going on break 30 minutes.
But
you smell like weed.
Sorry. But talk about double standards.
Hold on, I was going to say, that's part of the double standards that I'm talking about. Where they go, where you fuck it up for black folks because you put a race card and it's like, no, motherfucker, you are smoking a blunt right now inside the building.
Something Krissy said. I think that, you know, people gonna be people regardless.
Right.
You know, and everybody has a place. And the people who know how to communicate on each level, you know, whether it's up here or whether it's down here, seem to be the most successful people. And people who have thick skin. You know, people who, you know, somebody say something, it don't really elicit a response. You know, you just, you know, you lock it in and now you know where that person at, you know. So now I know how to deal, you know. Most insults or whatever come as jokes.
They do. True. And if you don't give life to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
But what I will say though, and I like what you just touched on because is because she was slipping. She wasn't pausing this like she's supposed to.
I know that.
But one thing that you said that struck a nerve is that I actually have a really good relationship. Not my best friend, and I have a really good relationship with a certain individual that I know exactly how he feels about black people in general. And I'm going to tell you why the relationship is good, because I know where he stands.
Exactly.
And he knows where I stand.
Exactly.
So when we have to have some type of encounters together, at least we fucking know where each other stands.
Exactly. Right.
And we are cool with it and we get along with it.
Boom.
I don't have to agree.
Right.
He doesn't have to agree. You know what I mean? I can't change everybody's fucking mind, nor am I trying to.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, sometimes what gets to me is the closet racist, right?
That's
I'd
the worst
much rather, what would you rather have? The closet racist or the one that you know right off the bat is like blatant racist?
That's why I'm
That's a
grateful
hard
for
question.
Trump.
That's a hard question.
That's exactly why I'm grateful for Trump.
Because he exposed the light.
Yes.
He exposed the light.
I mean, and especially living where we live. It exposed and I've been having these conversations recently, and actually my mom just asked me the other day if I was, back friends with somebody that I was, friends with for a really long time. And I said, absolutely not. I said, now this person did reach out because it was like, she reached out like the day that Biden got elected, as if now that Trump is out of office.
Your boy got in.
Yeah, congratulations.
We cool.
Congratulations.
And this person doesn't realize that it's like, it's not mutually exclusive. Like what you said and who you were.
Exactly.
And who you showed yourself to be while Trump was in
Trump made
office.
people comfortable.
That's who you really are. And I was grateful. Like, and I agree with, that's why I'm saying I agree with what TJ said. But my only caveat to that is
I like caveat. I like that.
I was just gonna say I love that word.
Yeah, we got it.
Boom.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, hold on.
Write it
Nobody
on the
say
board.
nothing.
Write it on the board.
That hit.
Caveat.
Okay,
That's
so-
almost like
Okay.
a
Caveat.
soliloquy.
the
So
only
the caveat-
to that in my world is
Talking all white.
depending, like there's a level to me knowing who you are. Like you said, like, at least like I would rather know where somebody stands and who they are.
Right.
I agree with that. But for me, the reason that I want to know who you are and where you stand is so that I can make the decision whether I want to be associated with you. And hear me out. I grew up here. 4 of my best friends since 1991, and we were 11 years old, are white people. They have shown improved. We have been through so much. I'm Aunt Krissy, all of that. But there were some white people that were in that same circle until Trump became president.
By the way, let me say real quick. This B.T.T. listeners, our loyal listeners, just to let y'all know, yes, absolutely yes. This is the one time we are okaying the pod to talk politics.
Okay.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. Because I'm not, you know what I mean? Like,
No, it's okay. I just want to put
Yeah.
that out there. You know what I mean? Because we
and
do.
let's be honest, right? Like talking about Trump is not necessarily politics, right? Because it wasn't politics. No,
entertainment.
it wasn't, right? Like but it exposed and I won't even say it exposed, because I feel like that was when white people were unapologetic about who they were, because it was like, oh my God, we have all these other people that feel the exact same way as us. So, it's okay. And we don't have to like pretend that, we don't feel a certain way about black people, anymore. And I was grateful for it, but not to the same extent that you're saying, because for me, that means that I'm not interacting with you anymore. That means that I'm not, because
You lost friends.
Well, hold on. Look,
Or
so
were they?
to put a little bit.
oh yeah.
Why are you trying to smack me? To put a little bit more clarity on it, when I meant relationship, it's not a relationship I choose to have. It's somebody that at that point I could not. We were in something together. I could not.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have the choice to You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be
it wasn't
to,
like
to
a
not
friend
have to
circle
deal
or
with it.
somebody
No,
that
it's not
you
a
hang
friend.
out with.
It's not it's an associate
It was
that I
an
have to
associate.
deal
Yeah.
with. Just to make that
Oh,
clear, because
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all out there, just to let y'all know, you don't think that y'all can be cool with me. No. This certain situation I'm talking about just helped the situation because we communicated better, because we got that out the way. I know how you feel about me. You know how I feel about you. I'll put it like this. If he was a Crip and I was a Blood,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then
and I get that.
But we had to do something together where we're stuck in a room together.
Do a record.
We said, hey, listen, we got to put that to the side because we have to get done. But I know how you feel about the Crippin', and you know how I feel about the Bloodin'. But we have to get this shit done, so we'll get it done. And we never had to talk about the gangbang while we're doing what we're doing right now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So just to put context out, because I don't want you to feel like I was just like, oh, no, man, we chilling at the crib. We by the pool right now. It's me, such and such, and, you know, no.
Yeah, because I think that we did learn throughout that there were a lot of black people that gave grace because of relationship when, you know, the white people that they associated with and hung out with for all these years started posting and saying certain things, within the last 4 or 5 years, they're like, but
Look,
that's just
let's
so
be
and so
clear
or
too,
whatever.
though.
Like, let's just
Some people started just
cool.
posting some racist shit
and being like
let me ask you this:
they were being
if you found out I was a Trump supporter, would you stop fucking with me?
No, I no.
Because you know me, right?
It's
and
not
you know,
about-
but you know, I'm not like people that were some Trump supporters, family members, a bunch of people. They was just posting up some foul shit.
Just to be followers because it was a Trump supporter.
And it was some racist shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't no Trump shit. They just put Trump's name on it. But they were just talking some racist shit. Now those are the people I was like, okay, I can't fuck with you.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But if I have friends that are Trump supporters and they be like, well, let me tell you why. Exactly. And we go back and forth and we debate and we have good conversation. And it's, you know what I'm saying?
That's the friends that I love those friends.
But for the people, it's like, he's gonna cut out all welfare and blah blah blah. That's why you mad.
Who? Yes, that part.
Motherfucker, I ain't never been on welfare, but okay, let's talk about it.
We did have food stamps in Greenwood because I used to go to EJ with them, but that was back in the day anyway.
Statistically, there are more white people on
of
welfare
course.
than there are black people.
I literally was about to
Let's
say,
stop.
guys, y'all must not realize it's not a lot of black people. We talk like it's 50-50.
No, it's 11%.
It's not a lot of black.
13.
Oh, is it 13?
It's not a lot of black people.
Yeah.
It's 16% if you
most of
consider
us
multiracial.
are in the same places. If you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
When you said,
I am not. I didn't cut off everybody that was like, oh, I'm voting for Trump, because if you said that you were voting for Trump, but we could still have a conversation about it. And a lot of the people
That's just
that
your politics.
And certain
There's some
people
who
that
did that,
I
though.
did not care for previous to Trump. These are the same people that when Barack Obama was first elected in 2008 were the ones that were posting Barack on a face of a monkey hanging from a tree. You know what I mean? Like it's those type of people, And even, I hate apathy. Right, like I
That's
remember,
one,
like
apathy.
within the last apathy and
we like
caveat.
We like good words.
Okay, like
hey,
when
we do
you
soliloquy all the time. We always do soliloquies.
I still don't know what that means.
We always do soliloquies.
I can't say it either. Soliloquy. I've been practicing.
Yeah, like I need to, like you need to stand somewhere. And when I say apathy, it's like certain friends where I, when that was going on, I'll be like, hey, so. Who did you vote for? And they'd be like, oh, we don't vote. I don't vote. We just don't watch the news in my house. And I just try to. That's worse. I would rather you tell me that I voted for Trump and this is exactly why I voted for that person. You know what I mean? So.
But do you remember? I mean, to me, maybe I'm wrong, but like almost like pre-Obama, especially white people. I'm just gonna put it out there.
that's never good.
But no, I'm just saying.
I'm just gonna put it out there.
They didn't discuss who they voted. Like that was
bad manners, bro.
If you ask somebody who they voted for,
that's not good, bro.
Excuse me, I don't
That's
speak
bad
about
manners.
that. Right now, white people's going, well, who you vote for? Huh?
I am not. Listen,
because of Kamala. Because of Kamala.
Kamala. Yeah, they call her Kamala. Let me tell y'all something, man. Man. Krissy, I'm not just trying to say this for y'all to go look at my Facebook, Instagram, or anything like that. But I did post something a couple years ago, man, and it simply said, y'all remember, and I wrote this myself. This wasn't a meme that I shared. This is how I really fucking felt, and I still feel it to this day. Y'all remember when motherfucker said, hey, I voted for somebody and then I shut the fuck up. I went to the poll. I don't know how. I'm just paraphrasing what I said in this post, and there's gonna be a lot of more cussing than there actually was in the post. I ain't gonna lie. I'm Black something. What do you want to do? So
exactly.
I was just talking about. Remember when you knew who the fuck you voted for? You went home and you just shut the fuck up.
And the whole deal. Period.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't ever remember Bush flags flying, fucking D. Reagan. I live in a neighborhood where I just discovered there's one more black family. And let me
I didn't want to play the saxophone because of Bill Clinton.
Thank you. He was on Arsenio Hall. Okay.
I did pick up the saxophone.
Yeah, but Bill Clinton was bullshit. We're starting to find out now.
Well, yeah,
he was bullshit.
Yeah, but you're right.
He smoked weed and he played.
But what I'm saying is,
it wasn't until
it
wasn't like Obama.
How about this?
That's what they're asking for Christmas was Trump gear and like getting it for their like 8th and 9th birthday.
When did you learn there was a flag for police?
There never was.
Today?
They just the Blue Lives Matter flag was created.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What?
I'm just saying, like there's so many different things that it ended up becoming. What ended up happening, this is my opinion once again. I'll say that disclaimer. What my opinion is what happened is we are in the information age. We are in so that means we're also in the follower age, right? Mm-hmm. And we're in the trend age. That's what we are, right? That's the reality of life. It doesn't have nothing to do with politics. It just has something to do with trends, right? It was trendy to go ahead and fly a flag that says Trump. If you're a Trump supporter, it made you proud. One thing that this dude said to me one time, he said, we were having a conversation, and this is one of the people I actually have good conversations with. And he kind of broke down and was like, man, to tell you the truth, like, and I feel fucked up for saying this, but sometimes I feel like I'm, like people are making it for me to feel bad that I'm white. Which is that's a deep that is a deep thing to say. Like I'm not just gonna say, oh well, you shouldn't feel like that. No. Right. I can't say don't feel like that, man, because that's something deep. That's something that somebody really feels. And this certain individual is a open-minded person, right. And I felt like it was genuine when he said the shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yep. So there is that, but then on the other side of it, people just need something to latch onto and feel a part of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they need to be in a club. Mm-hmm. And Trump said, I can make you a club. Watch this. Because nobody flew Clinton flags and Bush flags and Reagan flags and
Obama flags. I mean, now we had a lot of memorabilia, but that was because he was the first black president.
Come on, you wasn't nobody doing no types of Obama flags.
Oh yeah, man, people have Obama's picture in their house. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but flags.
I'm talking about flying.
Oh, no,
I'm talking
that you would sit on the outside of the house that represented.
You've been in my crib. You can go down my crib no matter what. There's three streets to get to my crib. You can take any of them 3 streets. Mm-hmm. You are gonna pass at least 3 or 4 houses that are literally so decked out where I'm like, how in the fuck did you even get that made? A fucking 60 by 60 foot fucking flag.
And the fact that he's still that he's not in office anymore and it's still out there.
I have a neighbor that literally painted on the side of their house. Y'all think if I'm lying, I'm flying. Mm-hmm. Talking about Trump 2024, like or 2000, whatever the fuck it is. I'm like, huh? This motherfucker ain't even. Man.
People are gonna be people. You know, you gotta.
Hold on. Hey, I gotta say this before I forget.
And Epstein didn't kill himself. Sorry.
Listen, so my man was like, he came over to my house and my neighbor's got a Trump flag still flying like the original. Right.
The original.
The original joint.
And my man
this one's an original.
My man said, where the fuck do people fly flags of motherfuckers that lost?
Right.
And I didn't hesitate. I said, nigga, they've been flying a Confederate flag for
decades.
What are you talking about?
Decades.
That part.
He was like, oh shit. I didn't think about it that way.
Right, but we not educated.
Right, and
But we
then
not educated.
hold on, and then to
Don't
kind
you
of
know
cut
no
back
good?
what TJ said when he was talking about people just wanted to be a part of a club and this and that, and we were talking about that, and he was like, yeah, just people want to be a part of something. I said, yeah, that's how the Klan started. And he just looked at me. He was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "I'm sorry. Am I getting too deep?
The Holocaust.
Am I getting too deep?"
No. That was they came out and said that the Holocaust was
Oh, it was fake. It didn't happen.
Yeah, no,
like
no, it was
Sandy
just,
Hook.
it was made up. Okay, now
Yeah.
we're getting a little bit.
Exactly.
But listen,
Hold on.
let me.
We are now the Brilliant Idiots podcast.
We sure are. Okay.
Since we talked.
And I'm gonna tell this to our listeners and viewership that because y'all know us, y'all listen to us, especially our longtime listeners, is that we never talk politics, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's a necessity, man. It's a conversation.
And hey,
You know,
put it on my
kinda
head, put it on my
kinda
shoulders.
roll,
You know what I mean?
no,
Because
don't put it on anybody's shoulder. Put it on
no,
all
but
of
I'm
our
saying,
shoulders.
like, hey, listen, you know, one
that
thing
damn
that
Krissy.
women, we're always outspoken, right? And we say,
Well, no, but what I and that's what I wanted to allude to, and bringing this podcast somewhat to a close, and coming back in, reeling back in, is that this is the reason why I said at the beginning of the podcast that it wasn't just. We weren't just going to have a woman on just to have a woman on, just say we had a woman on. Right. You know what I mean? There's many people lined up, and there's many, and there's so many different people that we have lined up. Jody, actually, in 2 weeks, Jody from Brain Jerk and, Kayla and all these different people. Like, we have people lined up, but I really feel strongly about having this conversation with Krissy Montague first on this podcast because I really like our conversation today. I really believe that after this, I want everybody else to feel like when they come on here,
They can talk.
They can talk whatever the fuck they want to talk.
yeah.
It just so happens we agree with what she's. We don't have to agree with what people saying.
I don't agree with everything.
You know what I
she's
mean?
saying.
But
she be on some bullshit.
that's what I was kind of alluding to at the beginning when I
And
said.
I don't be claiming you as my cousin.
Oh
okay.
shit! I done lost
it half
my
the
cuz
time?
card.
because he's
The
half black.
majority of the time.
Hey, think about
Because
this.
he's a nurse.
Think about this, guys. Everywhere you go or everywhere you hear, there's a shortage of employees, right? Shortage of employees. Nobody can keep anybody working. People don't want to work. People have transitioned into other jobs, whatever. What if the powers that be just raise the price on everything? What happens then?
Kind of like they're doing now.
Yeah.
Rome, you
Think about it.
Rome is trying to take this to a whole nother hour podcast.
You know why?
Waiting for me,
You know why?
Rome? Have
he's
you
been
been
waiting.
waiting?
You know why? No. Rome got to get gas when he leave here. And I just got
Exactly.
pissed off.
Okay.
After I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
And it hit me like, wait, you know what? They getting away with murder right now. They
Yeah.
doing whatever they want to do. Raise the price of everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Because
Yeah.
there's no work.
Everything.
Y'all don't want to work? Okay.
You ain't
It's
got to.
absolutely
Now what?
It's absolutely ridiculous. But that has to do with, we don't. You remember the saying, "It takes a village."
Yes. Oh,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like, if you wasn't hearing it from your mom and dad, you was hearing it from your aunt, your uncle, or mother so and so at the church or whatever. And that's not the case anymore. Now it's the opposite, right? Now it is, if I see your kid on the street doing wrong and I check them, instead of you being like, you know what, Krissy, thank you for doing that and instilling in them,
That
you
part.
come
You
to
don't
me
touch my
trying to
damn
cuss me
son.
out like
Right.
you ain't da-da-da-da-da-da. And that's black, white,
Yeah, that's
whatever.
everywhere.
No, that's everything.
That's everywhere.
And that's where
Everything.
we are.
We need
today.
a Grandma Betty. We need a Grandma Lucille.
We
Right.
sure do.
That's on both
Okay.
sides. That's my white
Facts.
grandmother and my black grandmother.
Okay.
Facts.
We'll come on the
Facts.
block
We need
and
it.
whoop your ass.
Exactly.
Why are you on the corner?
Why?
I was.
What?
I was
Do your mama know
I was
that
a
you
little bit-
walked down here to the store from your grandma's house?
Since I'm the youngest, I didn't get all the shits, but I
you
know that
didn't.
Michael
Yeah,
got
I
all
got
the shits.
all
All
the
of it.
shits.
Like Michael got whooped. I heard a story about Michael getting whooped twice before he got home,
yeah.
and in walking distance.
Twice.
Twice before got whooped, like real whooped.
Yeah.
If I'm lying, I'm flying. On
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you lived on
Do
507
you know how many
Conant.
times I got whooped because of y'all little sister? And and I
Okay,
hope she
wait a minute.
listened.
You was a bad influence on you.
Yeah, you were such a bad influence on the
First of
gangster.
First of all, the first time I ran away when I was 13 years old was because of her. She was like, "Listen, Julie,
because the house
Julie
was-
Manor gonna pick us up in her van. She have no license."
Why you putting her out there like that?
May she rest in peace. But I went, as soon as them street lights came on, I said, y'all can drop me off. I got to go home. I said, I can't do it. But Deidre and I, we do go back and forth. But, yeah, she was the bad
you was a
me.
bad influence, Krissy.
I tell you
She
what.
was such an angel. She was such an angel.
Only black people know the meaning of the word whooping.
Yeah,
because nobody else says. And when you say whooping, everybody, black people, we know what that means.
Yeah.
That means getting hit with a belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other cultures,
Listen,
they be like,
and how do you say it? You say
whooping.
You don't say
whipping.
How many times?
Spanking.
How many times did I spank you?
No.
My son would be like 400 times. How many times did I whoop you? Twice.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Exactly.
Great point, actually.
Oh my goodness, I got whooped. And I say this all the time. Me and my mom, I'm 42 now. She's 69. Like, my mom is my best friend and probably has been for most of my adult life. And the reason that we are best friends now is because she was not my friend when she raised me. Facts. And that's what we're missing too. You know what I mean? Like, nowadays.
So let me ask you,
You know what I mean? Like, how many times and I think about, and let's put it in context to family.
Right.
Okay. We out in Greenwick. My mom and dad, Auntie and Uncle Bug, y'all mom and dad playing Scrabble upstairs doing grown folks
She
stuff.
said Scrabble. I remember that.
Okay, we was in the basement. And if we came upstairs too long, if we came upstairs to use the bathroom, you go to the bathroom and go right back downstairs. If we stayed up there too long,
You're hustling.
you're right. You just didn't do that. But now
They at the
parents
table with them.
they have their kids is at
With
the
a
table
drink.
with them.
Right.
It's so different. Like, they want to be friends.
But we were traumatized
because
of the whooping.
Yeah.
That's what held us in check.
Clearly.
You know,
We didn't want one of them.
Now, my dad
parents
didn't whip me.
understand about trauma.
Yeah.
You know, they understand about, because right now, we all have a whooping story. You know,
All of us.
And we light up when you talk
Yeah.
about it. I remember I got my butt whooped, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you something
that's
to
a
cry
bad-
about.
that's a badge of
That's
honor.
traumatic. You know, I mean, that's trauma.
Yeah, but
you know?
I feel like it's a badge of honor.
Bro, you don't supposed to whoop kids.
Listen,
I mean, I'm just honest.
Not if you
in
say
real life.
I got 400 whoopings in my life. If you got 400
You
whoopings,
was abused.
Not me, but how about this though? Everybody's been in the room though when you've had these whooping stories, right? And the
Yeah.
one kid that didn't get whoopings is really left out, and they're like, "I wish I had that fucking whooping story."
They do. They wish that they had that.
Rome, how many
And
times you had a whooping?
It's
Man.
also a misconception.
I'm black,
so many
bro.
times when black people talk about whoopings, we talk about it in context of just black people. And I'm going to give you my best friend down the street, her mama had a paddle.
Uh-oh.
I would go home and be like, give me that belt.
I take
Okay. But yes, it is traumatic, and that's a traumatic story. Like, I think back to my mom being like, you know, asking my dad for the belt, and my dad being like, go in the basement so the neighbors don't hear. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, that's real.
but
shit.
at the
is
end
real.
of the day, when I think back, I deserved it. Mm-hmm. And that was the reason that I didn't mess up, because I didn't want
to see that build again.
to get reprimanded.
But also,
That's right.
what I really think that we gloss over though is that the whooping, yes, it was the physical part, but let's be very,
And the
very,
mental
very,
part as
very,
well.
very,
Yeah.
no, let's be very, very clear.
What you're gonna say.
The mental part of it was that you had to disappoint your parents
Absolutely.
enough that they had to
Yep.
hurt you
Exactly.
Part
or
of it
whoop
too.
you or whatever the case may be. Like, and I know that, and I don't want to be insensitive to some people that did get beat or are
Right.
traumatized because there is going overboard.
There is
You know what I
going
mean?
overboard.
And I 100% understand that, and I don't understand. I don't understand it personally because I didn't get. I was actually, my dad has never whooped me. It's my mom.
Mine
Right.
either.
Oh shit, Robin used to fuck me
Yeah.
up. But anyway,
She gave you a spanking, little boy.
oh no! You was already out the house. Oh, she hit me with a classic. Remember when remember you shot that BB gun? Never mind. We'll start.
That's a whole nother podcast. Next,
Yeah,
but
that's
on the
all
next
right.
podcast,
Like,
ass whooping
You
special.
know,
Exactly.
but I also believe though too, man. Like, guess what? If you told a kid, "Hey, that's hot," and they go, "Fuck you," and then they go, "Psst," and you go, "Look at your ass."
Exactly.
Guess what? They learned that it was hot.
Yeah.
They did.
Some things you can't reach out and touch, so you have to give them that burn in the way that you can give it to them because they can't physically get that burn, but it's something just as bad as the burn.
Yeah.
Are you guys following me?
Yeah.
You know
And
what I mean?
also, to make it more relative to today, back then, like nowadays, if parents discipline, it's like, I'm taking your phone away, I'm taking your TV out of your room, I'm doing this. We didn't have that back in the day.
Right.
So that really was a form of discipline. You know what I mean? Like, obviously it's, not as extreme, but in some cases it is, right? Like, how many videos have you seen on like YouTube or Instagram where parents like took their kids' PlayStation and like threw it out, and the kids like they want to like kill themselves because of it. You know what I mean? It is extreme. But that was our discipline.
That was it. Like, everybody's reality is different. Reality is subjective. I got a homeboy. His wife is from Canada. She tells me this story, and every time, like, it's a laughing matter at first because it's so crazy to think of it. But then you have to think like, oh shit, man, that's fucked up. She loved reading books. She still to this day loves. She's like a Brad, right? Where she loves reading books. So as getting a whooping, none of that shit, man. Take away her books. Yep. It was devastating. Think about this: taking away a child's books when most people are trying to get their children to read their books. That was her. So it's all subjective. That tore her down. Right. She told me horror stories of how she felt and how she still feels today about certain things like that. And it has nothing to do with physical abuse. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it all comes back to how it mentally affects you. Whether it's physical or not, it's how it mentally affects you. Things affect you in different ways.
Yeah, it's like, but it's at the end of the day, it's discipline, and that's what you don't necessarily see anymore. How often, my cousin is, y'all know, shout out to my cousin James Miller, Mr. Miller, worked in Lily, been in Monroe for so many years.
Which we were over his parents' house a lot of the times of what we're talking about.
Okay.
They was up.
What was them parties?
The garbage can dinner. Shit. Okay. The garbage can dinner, because they had the try.
I'm like, what the hell y'all talking?
Right. Well, they had what is that called? The try thing where when you walk into a house, you can either go downstairs or upstairs. Tri-level. Yeah. You know what it was? Parents upstairs in that basement.
Or
was
they
downstairs.
was outside. They had this. They would like. It was like it was a garbage.
Oh, the summertime
can,
shit, yeah.
And it literally was like corn, sausage, and it was cabbage, like a whole garbage.
Everybody
can.
brings something over and dumps it in this garbage can that's a pot.
We would have these parties, but shout out to James.
We gotta have that at the Hootenanny.
Yeah,
the Hootenanny.
The Hootenanny. He's now a principal in Livonia, while Monroe overlooked him for many times, many years, and but shout out to him, and we got our ass whooped, but it was discipline that to us.
But do you think this though, Krissy? Do you think that they don't take it discipline now? And you too, Rome, because you were talking about this too. So everybody at this table. So do you think that it's different now because, like I said, trends, right? Because it's trendy now to be like,
if you know,
I don't be. But I'm just saying, man. There's internet.
Back then, I don't
there's
think our
video.
Parents knew.
Listen,
no, I don't think they knew the seriousness, or the trauma that you put into a young person.
But how about
by
this?
hitting them with something?
But
now
at
we
the
understand
same time,
that.
But at the same time, though, a parent right now, they feel a certain way of giving somebody a whooping because trendy shit says you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And what am I going to have to deal with? And he's going to have to go to school and go, my mom hit me, my dad hit me, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a time thing. I don't think
and
that
you see on the news or social media that kids are like calling the police on their parents.
Absolutely.
Like,
right.
Oh my God, could you
imagine
the fear of calling the police? Call the police, they'd be like,
ma'am,
here you go, they on the phone. I'll whoop their ass too when they get here. And you said, oh my God, my dad would actually whoop their ass.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. It goes to like, you relate that to like school, right? When you never wanted to get in trouble in school. We never wanted to get in trouble in school when we were kids. It was like, please don't call our mom and dad. Nowadays it's different because now it's the parents coming up there, and no matter what the principal or the teacher tells you or tells the parent about their kid, the parents are coming up there being, defending the kids.
Yeah, that's facts.
And that's, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's with the different generations and things like that. And yes, the trauma, but for me, I can recognize that there are certain, like there are people that grew up the same time as me that are now like, oh, that was trauma. But for me, I appreciate my parents for disciplining me, because I would not be where I am today had it not been for them being like, nah, you're not about to do XYZ, or yeah, you are. I know you don't feel like going to practice today, and you don't want to play softball anymore or play on this traveling league or whatever, but you're going to do it.
Yeah. Think about the kids right now that you say, fuck you, mom.
Yeah, that are like, no, I don't want to do anything, so I'm just gonna sit in the house and play video games all day.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell the camera something right now. My girls, whoop them before they whoop you. I ain't whoop them before they whoop you, because they gonna whoop. They have. Oh my God.
They whooping you now.
Ask Deidre about when she came over in the mean mugs. Oh, they have mugs now.
Yeah.
Oh, they have mean mugs now, like real ones. Like they have attitudes now.
You don't have to whoop kids, but discipline. All these videos that they keep sharing from the Jubilee in London with Princess Kate and her little boy, and he putting his hand over his mom's mouth and doing like this, and everybody's like posting it and laughing, talking about, oh, Kate has her hands full. No, he needs some discipline. Like, that is disrespectful. Like,
Wrong.
Listen here, we know better.
This is about to be a whole nother podcast. We got to go into part 7.
Would you ever put your hand on your mom's face to shush her?
Bro, stop it.
You wouldn't do this
imagine?
today.
I wouldn't shush her over the phone. Bro, listen.
Rome has Rome. You know I listen to everything. I remember everything. Rome have told me.
Put it.
And she don't have to open her mouth.
Rome just told me the other day, we were having this conversation. He says that he is a lot of years old. I won't say it. He's a lot of years old, and he says he still will not cuss in front of his mother.
Absolutely not.
The only time that I can cuss in front of my parents is when I'm telling a story and I'm referencing something that somebody said. And
so you must have been talking about bro. Why you always talking about bro black in the stories?
I am. Because, he still calls my dad all the time. My dad be like, he was on there. I had to put him on speakerphone. I just set the phone down because, he be talking. And about 3 times, he was like, all right, Ab, I'm going to call you back.
Hey,
and he be like, and the whole thing. And shit got damn hell and the whole thing. And, he called Gotti one day. And Gotti was like, Gotti said he had to set the phone down. He said, called out of the blue and was like, hey, Gotti, how you doing? I just want to let you know, I just think, y'all whole crew need to be in the Hall of Fame, and, and Krissy too, and da-da-da. Like, out of nowhere. Y'all know I love Brother Black.
What's your Facebook?
Exactly. No, what's yours? Because you have 10 of them, sir.
Y'all gonna stop talking about my dad.
Open my messages, I'm like, bro, back.
I know.
Hey, y'all need to stop drinking on that podcast.
I know. He reached out to Shay recently because, I
love you,
hey,
Daddy,
let me just shout out.
He told me that we get too fucked up on my. I said, how do you know you're not in here?
Because
he's like, he goes, all those bottles behind you. Oh, I go, absolutely. You think that we drink all them bottles?
Yeah. And guess
Before
what?
the podcast.
We kind of get it honest. Okay, I'm sorry.
Good dude.
Like,
hey,
yeah.
she said it.
But he recently, shout out to Shay. I don't know if y'all know, like, this fall, history will be made. It's the first time that there will be a black varsity coach and a black JV coach for women's basketball. Coach Mason will be, continuing as the varsity coach, and Shay Small will be the JV girls coach.
Congratulations.
And so shout out to her. But she said, Brother Black reached out talking about, hey, let me know if you need an assistant in the whole situation. And
Krissy, you gonna leave my daddy alone?
That's my ace.
Right.
Y'all
Hey, by the way,
know.
just so y'all know, who she's referring to is me and Michael's father, who also has Ford Madison Sports and Education Program, a long-running 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization. He also has the Key to the City, presented to him by Mayor Cappuccilli, the late great Mayor Cappuccilli.
Yeah.
Just so y'all know who the fuck we talking about.
Okay.
He ain't all
Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on his name.
Wow.
Are we finished? Hey, is we finished? Is we done?
Is we done? We're gonna finish on it because shout out to Mayor Cappuccilli because I also have my own day, July 20th.
Oh wait, for real?
Mayor Cappuccilli and Dorothy Edwards. May she rest in peace as well. I have my own day, July 20th, 1998.
Hey, I didn't know that.
Shit! Yes.
I know.
Facts.
Damn.
Facts.
Can I get your autograph before you leave?
When I told y'all earlier she was a heavy hitter, was I bullshit? Was I bullshit?
And obviously been a heavy hitter for a long time.
Long time.
Long.
But a doom doom doom.
But that was a long time ago, right? We can't live vicariously through our past. Like, yeah, I was
No, but it's an
homecoming queen.
accomplishment.
Yeah, I was athlete of the year. Yes, I have
Athlete
my
of
own
the
day.
Well, and that
I'm
takes me to
joking.
one more thing before we get up out of here. One more thing, like Bro Black says. No,
One
one
more thing. Yeah.
is, and we had a lot of talk about black people on this podcast. Let me tell y'all something. I want to give a quick what do they call it? PSA.
Okay.
Public service announcement.
Yes, PSA to everybody. Hey, listen, when somebody compliments you as a black person to black person or any race, but specifically black people to black people, accept the compliment. One thing that I've really been reading up on a lot of stuff is that some of our insecurities and stuff, we find it hard for some reason to be like accepting a compliment.
Yep.
Like when I talk about your accomplishments, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is okay for you to say thank you.
I know.
When
and
you
it's
say
hard.
something, I know, because that's how we're programmed. But hey, guess what?
Yeah.
You got a compliment for a reason. Don't disrespect the person complimenting you by just brushing it off your shoulder.
That's a whole nother layer.
That's a whole nother layer, but
especially
yes.
from men.
That's a whole nother.
Especially
That's a
for-
whole
So
nother.
great.
Why is
Women-
that a weird
It's
thing?
okay.
Women can,
It's okay.
can compliment women.
I compliment women
all day long.
all
Men,
the time, and
them some nice glasses. So what you saying, bro?
exactly.
What's wrong with
Nope.
my glasses?
Nope.
You know, what-
They real.
Hey, let's
Exactly.
You know how we always
They
say let's
real. You know how much
normalize
I pay
something?
for these
Let's
glasses?
normalize that. Let's
Yeah.
normalize being able to congratulate somebody or give somebody the proper just due.
True that.
Yeah.
And you accepting it.
True that.
You don't always
Let's
have to
just
say, "Oh no,
normalize
you know
giving
how I
people
do."
their flowers.
Yes.
True that.
You know,
Yes.
and I don't care if it's a small win. You know what I mean? Like, let's
win is a win.
normalize, you know, not hating on somebody because the next person is, you know, and getting to know them and forming your own opinion, you know, of them. So yeah,
And let that-
especially in the black community, like let's
And in that
normalize
black
that.
community-
we can all win.
Let's let that bleed over into all communities.
Yep.
There you go.
All communities. Let's bleed that over. You know what I mean? And to people listening that aren't black, it's okay to have the same opinion in a black room as it is in a white room.
Yeah.
There you go.
But
It is.
yeah,
It
I just had
is.
to say them a couple PSAs before we get up
PSA.
on it. Did I keep?
It's a public service announcement for those of you
Right.
that aren't aware.
But yeah, but I've been drinking, so the public service announcement I had to do it slow. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna.
Hence.
This is the Bro Black that
Yeah, the abbreviated.
we've been going at it for 2.5 hours. You know what I mean?
I know. I
You got to
love this
expect
shit.
my inner Bro Black to come out by this time.
Ooh, that's long. You might be the longest podcast.
Am
You are.
I? I hope.
No, you
I
actually
hope
are.
it's the
100% you are.
Entertaining.
Popular and you know what I mean.
great
And I hope I'm
conversation.
invited
Great
back.
conversation,
Like
yeah.
you know, like
You're definitely invited back.
Man.
this is.
You're
this
definitely
is-
invited back. And
this
I know
is
we
love.
went. I know we went very deep on this one and everything, and I would love to have you back and some more fun stuff, some more light stuff, some more great things that you're doing. Because I don't want to overshadow a lot of the great things that you have going on by some of the conversations that we have to have.
Yeah,
And
but the
and I love
conversations that we had tonight are are like a lot of my life. So, you know what I mean? Blended in with the good stuff is
Yeah.
the stuff that we talked about tonight. And if I wasn't who I am, the good stuff that I've been a part of, I wouldn't be able to enjoy had I not had the experiences of the bad stuff. So,
I believe that the character is built off of all the stuff that we've talked about.
1,000%.
For sure, for
You
sure.
know what I mean? The phoenix arises from the ashes.
There you go.
What do y'all?
What in the
This
life,
dude,
Jennings?
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Must
These
be
dudes.
nice.
I got him. I'm tripping. Nah, you
I mean, that's seriously. I mean, it's not.
No, you is, but that's
It's
what
not?
we do as black people, right?
That's what the fuck we do.
You need a hug, bro?
Don't you
Right,
fucking
hey,
come
brother,
over here.
said
If
the
you fucking
phoenix
get up,
brother.
Arises
That's what he
from the
said.
ashes.
That's what that dude said.
if you, okay, man. All right. See, this is why I have to fucking.
see, I had
edit.
a whole-
Do we all
You see, I
have to
gotta
end
hold
with
his
like a
hand
very?
just in
Do we
case.
all have to
No.
end
Was
with a
that too
very
dramatic?
deep quote?
Was that too dramatic?
Dramatic.
I'm sure, bro.
Okay. All right.
But it's serious. It's serious.
No, it's for real though. I really do believe that. Like
know
that's
you do.
what the fuck builds character.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
I agree with you.
You are absolutely right.
I just want to give you a hug
It's
because
the
I
way
haven't
you
given you a
said it.
hug in a long time.
Is it because we're wasted?
And and I think the summary of this podcast is, just being open to listen and learn from other people's experience.
Yep. Yes.
Regardless of what you went through, don't deny somebody else's experience, like based off of what you see on social media. It's a very cliche thing, but I always have to tell people, I always have to tell people,
I know you in real
see
life.
the glory, but you don't know the story.
Right.
Yes.
Or, people that are like, oh, like she's always posting about all these places that she's going and she's bragging. It's not bragging, you just can't relate. But you could, because you have choices. Do the same thing. Reach out to me and be like, hey, Chris, like, how did you get to where you are? Like, help me.
Hey, Chris,
Chrissy.
can I get a plane ticket?
You can't get a plane ticket, but you can always
You can get
stay
flued
in
out.
my hotel. Like,
You can get
listen,
flued out. You try to get flued out.
No, I mean, like,
flued out.
I just want you to give me a plane ticket.
To where?
I don't know. Let's see.
Didn't he just say that
Belize?
he was just like really like somebody just asked him to be like the director of nursing or something like no, and that he's higher pay. You can go ahead and get your own. You can meet. I'll meet you there.
Cool, I got it. And I got yours too. What to do?
Let's go. Okay.
Hey, we ain't got nothing to have with. That's the whole fucking
Must be
deal.
nice.
Let's go.
Must
Can
be
you
nice.
pay with
You
8
talking about
Mile
me
vodka?
like you talking about me like Jennings? You hear what he said?
I'm getting ready to fly
Must
to
be
be
nice.
nice.
I know that's what I said. Must be nice.
We getting ready to fly to Daytona, girl.
Daytona.
Hey, who the fuck goes to Daytona?
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I thought I was tripping for a second.
That's what I'm
He said Daytona.
Yeah, we can drive there, can't we?
Well, damn, I could have said Dayton.
Go.
To Daytona.
Yeah, I'd much rather go to Dayton than Daytona. Actually,
Exactly. At this point.
Hey, if we could stop off and go see Uncle Paul, go get us some good tacos.
I was gonna say, does
Pablo's
anybody
tacos.
go to Daytona anymore?
Not
For real?
anymore, no.
Okay, I
Yeah,
ain't
a couple-
heard.
yeah,
Did
bi-
you
bike-
have
bike
the
week
Black
and
Bike
shit.
Week?
Oh,
Yeah, Bike Week.
But
they
people
do.
are more, Miami, Key West.
I fly you to Temperance, girl. Fly you to Temperance.
Okay.
I put
So
you
on that
on a
note,
ferry to put in Bay, boo.
Ooh, no, that's expensive. What are you
with
talking
me.
about?
I put you on a ferry, boo.
She said a ferry to fucking.
You got money.
Yeah.
Okay, you rich.
If you put him on the Jet Express, now you're dropping. Now you're dropping
really?
dollars. Oh yeah. Jet
Oh.
Express is way more expensive than the ferry.
Listen, we're just gonna take TJ's boat.
First of all, I don't need any of that because I'm INDEPENDENT. Do you know what I mean? I got my own shit.
Right.
Okay, I'm
That's
joking.
what's up.
Shout out to Boosie.
Man, we
Anthony.
gotta wrap this up. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the hell is this.
Okay. Because
Mr.
my man gonna be
Mr.
like, what
Blue
is
Sky.
going on?
So let's go ahead and bring this thing to a close. Krissy, thank you so much for
sure,
coming.
for sure.
Seriously,
Love
like
you.
we've
Thank you.
talked about this for a long time. You guys can go back to our
From the old
Instagram
studio.
at Beyond the Tracks Podcast. Yeah, our old studio. You
Mm-hmm.
can. She actually has a drop. And I remember when she was first building her brand and she was first doing stuff. And I'm so proud and so humbled to be able to call you not only a cousin, a family member, but a friend, a real confidant, somebody I can really reach out to, talk to whenever I need to. We appreciate that. All of us appreciate the relationship that you bring to us and our community.
Oh.
So thank you so much for
I
coming on.
appreciate y'all. Thank you
Absolutely.
for giving me the platform, and I'm glad that I was able to be in town and
Talk that
be
shit.
able to talk this shit.
Talk
So
that shit.
I can't wait
That's
till the next time so we can do it again. Yep.
Absolutely.
These conversations are absolutely necessary.
Yep.
You gotta put her on the calendar tonight. You gotta lock her down for part 2 and 3
And 3 and 4.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know.
we got you.
Lock me in.
Well, without any more discussion, before we go Bro Black and say one more thing, I'm your boy TJ the Mayor.
It's your boy Aro.
It's your man DJ Big Mike and the whole deal. Period.
And it's your girl Krissy, aka Krissy Montague from Money Row. If you don't know where to find us, look for the $sign.
Hey,
like
yo, Montague
we out
Creatives.
here. Montague Creatives and the 3 Stripes. Y'all
Yes.
know what it is.
Thank y'all for
Let's go.
tuning in. Peace.
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 Peace.